Or you see that pitcher in the cold weather lick his hands and he can't get the grip on the ball, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna tear this guy a new one. That's a lot of money. She's like crying. She's like, it's so much money. And she's bawling, and I'm like, this is a horseshit offer. Like, this is a slap in the face, you know? This ballpark was humongous. And then I walked into it the first time, and I'm like, this is a Cracker Jack box. Like, she's like, there's no way you make it through. I'm like, I'm good now. It's no big deal. I got to like the 6th inning. I was livid.
Four-time All-Star, two-time Gold Glover, 2018 World Series champion, 2017 WBC champion, played in the Olympics, two-time 30-30 club member, Ian Kinsler. We're at your place. This place, Warstic, dude. This place is awesome. How did this place come about?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
Gotta dive into it a little bit. You know, it was like, started out meeting the guy who founded the company, Ben Jenkins.
Yeah.
It was basically ran out of his basement when I first met him, when his kids were fulfilling orders, and it was t-shirts and batting gloves and wood bats only.
Okay.
And he wanted to get the product into the major leagues. And so I invested in the company, got into the big leagues. Guys started using it a little bit, started kind of spreading around the league a little bit. And then the rock star Jack White invested as well. And we wanted to create a headquarters. We wanted to create a place where people could come try our bats. You know, we have a lathe in the back where you can get bats spun and whatever, you know, the dimensions you want in your bat, the handle, the cup, this barrel size. So we found this place. Jack is really in credit for finding this place because it's in Deep Elm. It's a music forward place. It's more of his vibe. It's where he wanted it to be. But people come down here and they love it. You know, we got the basement downstairs, the lathe, we got the paint room, got a little coffee shop right here. It's a nice setup.
That's awesome because Jack's not from here. Jack's
from Detroit.
Detroit, yeah. So did you and Jack know each other before Warstic?
Barely.
Yeah. Just kind of being around the ballpark.
When I was in Detroit, in Lakeland in spring training, I wore number 3, and his record label is Third Man Records. He loves the number 3. Like in his living room, he's got a bunch of clocks, old clocks, and they're all set to 3. Like he just loves the number. So he wanted to talk to me. So I met him in BP in Lakeland. And that was really the only time we'd met previously. And then when Ben Jenkins was telling me about Warstic, he was mentioning Jack was looking at the product. And I said, oh, it's funny. I know Jack White a little bit. And at the time he had no cell phone. He had no phone number. So I was like, let me send him an email and see what this guy's got going on. And he's like, oh man, I love the product. I think it looks great. The aesthetics, the clean lines. And I said, I'm going to invest in it and would love to have the opportunity to invest with you. Just you and me. Let's do this. And he's like, oh yeah, you guys fly out to Nashville. So I just invested in this company with Ben. I've known him for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. And we get on a Southwest flight and fly to Nashville and like pitch this idea to Jack, and he invests. So that's kind of how it all went down.
What year was that? Because I used the bats. I used the bats for a couple years, and I would say, Donaldson used them a little bit before me, and that would have been like
15.
I was going to say that would be like 2016, 17. He was using the bats. I started using them when I got to San Francisco, and I used them kind of on and off the rest of my career.
Yeah, it was either 15 or 16.
You decide, because that's a pretty big, not only like, are you investing like your time and your money, but like you're still in the prime of your career, and like you're investing in this company that makes bats. So now it's like, man, I'm kind of stuck to this bat, right? I better like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you must have really believed in the product.
Yeah. You in spring training, you show up and there's these vendors that are sitting outside the locker rooms daily. And there's new bats that show up, and there's, B45s show, they got the Birchwood at one point. They're trying to push the Birchwood, and there's all these new companies that
axe handles,
you get all these different things that show up. And normally when you pick up a new bat as a major leaguer, you're so used to what you have and you're so attached to it that if you pick up a new one, it always feels terrible. You're like, this isn't good bat. And when I met Ben, I brought my Louisville Slugger, and I said, if you can make one where I close my eyes in it and I can't tell the difference when I, try to balance it out or feel it out, and then I'll take it to the cage, and if I hit with it and it doesn't explode, like I'm in, and he was able to do that. So it was crazy how quick it happened. And honestly, the attention to detail at the beginning of the process was comforting, and took it right into the game, and really didn't notice a difference at all. It was pretty seamless.
I was using a Warstic.
I pitched against
during when I got hit in the face, and I had a ton of pine tar on the bat. Like actually, when I first came back after the injury, a bunch of pine tar on the bat that was red, and people thought like it was the coolest thing ever. Like, hey, is that the bat that was blood all over it? Yeah. And I said yes for a long time. Yeah,
you just had that moto stick?
Because I knew you, I knew Ben. I kind of knew what the brand kind of stood for, kind of like this tough warrior kind of mentality. And I'm like, this is like the perfect kind of, thing for the brand. So it was a cool moment in my career.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, pre-Warstic, so on our show, like To the Majors, like we really like to just kind of explore your career like A to Z, right? Like it's very easy for people to like, look at the back of your baseball card, or, just like, hey, yeah, he was part of this team and did those things. Like, but there's such a journey to get there, right? Like there's so much work. There's so many things that take place behind the scenes. And that's where we really like to try and dig and just, I don't know. I think it doesn't matter if you've got 1,999 hits in the big leagues or 2. I think everybody's story, like there's so much to be gleaned from everyone's story that, either amateur athletes or just people at home listening and watching can glean from it and take from it and appreciate from it. So, but the first place I want to go is 2010 Game 5 ALDS in Tampa.
2000. Okay.
Do you know where I'm going?
If it was Rodney, he would have hit me in the back of the head, because every time I faced that dude, he drilled me.
Well, I mean, you just hit this massive homer for a Texas team that was really loaded. But you guys went up 2. You won the first 2 in Tampa. You lost 2 at home.
Yes.
So now you're in a winner take all, and it's Cliff versus Price, like a heavyweight bout.
Yep.
And you guys get 2 basically winning in the margins. Like you guys had 2 really good, like Elvis scored from second on a ground ball to first, I think. And then I think old man Vlad, ended up scoring.
Yeah.
And so you guys were really, and that was kind of Tampa's MO, is like pitching, defense, win the margins, right? And you guys were this group of just bangers, right? Like you guys, Texas was always known like, hey, they're going to score a ton of runs, but they don't ever seem to pitch, right?
Right.
And you guys got Cliff, you guys got a couple arms, you guys are really doing well, but you guys did show this identity of just like you talk about Warstic and kind of that work. Like you guys just grinded out a win and were just gritty ball players and just figured it out. And then you come up in the top of the 9th in a 2-1 game, and those games never feel, especially in the playoffs,
especially in Tampa too.
I mean, and you come up and you hit a no doubter and you kind of give like a little skip. You give this like little skip, and it's like, I think Rangers fans especially, like they know exactly what we're talking about. But walk me through kind of just being in that moment, and like we'll get into your history a little bit, everything that got there. But like, man, your journey to that point was not a straight line. Like there was a lot of ups and downs. Yeah. But I mean, you hit probably one of the most iconic home runs in that franchise's history. To that point, especially.
Up to that point, for sure.
Because they hadn't won a playoff series.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was drafted by the Rangers. I came up through the organization. I learned about the history in the 90s and getting beat by the Yankees every year. When I first got to the big leagues, our team, like you said, we couldn't pitch. We could hit. That old ballpark, the ball flew. And then it all kind of came together in 2010 where we were able to get good enough on the mound, and we still had that mentality on the offensive side that we were going to score 1 billion runs, and it all came together at the same time. And then that Game 5, right? It's never won a postseason series in Texas, the history of it, and then going into a do or die game, you're either going home or you're moving on to the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that was what I was thinking about the most. Was like, I just wanted to be a part of the team that took the organization to a new level. That was really what I was thinking. Not during that bat, I was thinking slider and whatever, but like leading up to the first pitch, the pregame stuff, you know, after the game, my first thoughts was like, we were a part of something that this organization's never done. And that, you know, when you're ultra focused and you're playing at that level where every little inch matters and every pitch matters, and you're able to execute and have a result like that, like you can't really explain the emotions that happen. You know, like I don't know why I started skipping. I don't know. It was, you know, it was a little weird, but that was just kind of how it was, like joyful. There, you know, something like I knew the game wasn't over yet, but I was also like, that's got to be the thorn right there. Like that's got to stick it in them and hopefully end this thing. So it was a very good moment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Tucson, born and raised in Tucson. I saw you were on a pretty good high school team.
Yeah.
You guys had some players.
We did.
Would you play shortstop in high school?
I didn't make it to shortstop until I was a senior in high school. Yeah. It was a tough program as a freshman, sophomore to really even be a part of the varsity team. I was fortunate enough to get called up late as a freshman just to watch the playoffs. Basically, I think I got one at bat. And then my sophomore year, I was playing second, kind of switching with another guy. There was a senior at short that pretty much played all the time. And then going into my junior year, I thought I was going to be the starting shortstop. And Scott Harrison moved into town from Chicago and he played short. So now I'm playing second again. So it really wasn't until my senior year that I played shortstop in high school, but we were loaded. I mean, I think we had five big league guys.
Yeah,
on the same team.
Brian Anderson, Scott Harrison, Chris and Shelly Duncan.
Yep.
Sounds right.
Those two,
that's right,
monsters.
And we had a kid named Ryan Schroyer, who arguably was one of the better players my senior year. He ended up going to Arizona State. He was a pitcher, really good arm, and played some minor league baseball. But we had a ton of talent.
Was it so for you playing on a team? And because a lot of times, you know, we hear stories all the time about, you know, this kid, you know, started all 4 years in high school, you know, like, you know, we were talking about like Justin Upton earlier, right? Like you talk about Justin and Melvin, like they were, you know, they were dudes
in baseball. Jump. We call it bonus babies.
Yes. They were guys from the jump.
They're
right?
just there. They go, there's not much. We're talking about a journey and all this stuff. Yes, theirs is different, but it's super talented at a young age, can kind of dominate the game physically.
Yeah.
And also mentally understand the game well at a young age. It's like kind of the whole package.
Yeah.
So for guys like that, you know, it's more of like their big league journey because they're going to get there.
Yeah.
You know,
but like for you, and I remember talking to Cole Hamels about this too, because, you know, we talked to him and he talked about how he went to like a super prominent high school. And he's like, man, I didn't care how talented you were as a freshman or sophomore. We were so loaded that you had to put work in just to get on the field. Right. Like, and so from the jump, there wasn't like this bottleneck in college or bottleneck in pro ball, because everybody kind of hits that point where they look around, they're like, man, everybody here is good. Right? Like, what's my separator? For him, it happened early. And it sounds like for you, it happened early too. And so you're grinding just to get on the field in high school. And then it sounds like a similar situation kind of happened to you in college because, you know, ASU, being an Arizona kid, that was probably like, you know, Pat Murphy, Sun Devils, like that was where you wanted to be.
Yeah. I had no options out of high school. I was going to go to Pima Community College, which was the Tucson Community College.
Yeah.
Their baseball team was okay.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my opportunity. So I had an opportunity. But the last day before, I guess you couldn't change schools. I don't know. I didn't know all the junior college rules at the time, but a guy that previously played at my high school was coaching at Central Arizona.
Okay.
He walked into our practice, walked straight up to me and was like, hey, you're coming to Central. I need you to sign this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know where Central is. I don't know anything about this place. What are we doing? And everyone's like, you're going to Central. It's way better baseball place. You're going to learn a lot more. You're going to be around a bunch of guys that are better. That's where Scott Harrison ended up going.
Okay.
So I knew he was there. So yeah, I signed it and didn't really even know where I was going. It was this little community college or junior college in between Tucson and Phoenix, like out in the middle of the desert, Casa Grande. So that's where I went.
Looking back on it, how come you had no options? Was it physicality? Were you not playing year-round baseball? Were you doing other things as a kid? Were you playing other sports? Do you think that
I was a soccer player as well. So I was soccer, baseball in high school. And I try, like, there's time, you know, my son's 14. He's just starting his baseball journey. And so there has been times where I've kind of reflected and looked back and like, what was it? You know, was it like why Brian Anderson went to University of Arizona, Shelley Duncan went to University of Arizona, Chris Duncan was the first rounder. Scott Harrison was drafted out of high school, went to Central. So that was fine. But the crazy part is that I was drafted out of high school. So the Diamondbacks selected me in the 29th round, I think, or 28th round. And at the time they had this thing called draft and follow.
Yeah.
Right. So there really was no negotiation, but I was being recognized by the professional ranks, but there were zero colleges, zero effort.
That just doesn't track.
So I don't know if I was overshadowed by Ryan Schroyer, Brian Anderson, you know, all these guys. I was a little bit smaller. I was probably 165 pounds, like 6 foot, skinny. My ears were the biggest thing on my body, you know? So I don't know, you know, I don't know. I think it's honestly, I think baseball is just a different game. You know, you can go to a basketball game, you can watch 2 games and you can be like, that guy's dominating.
Yeah.
He's taking over the game. You can go to football. You're like, this guy's faster, bigger, stronger than everybody. And he's smart. He kind of understands the playbook. He knows where to be, whatever. He's making audibles. You kind of get it pretty quickly. Like, that guy's really good. Baseball, you got to watch somebody play for an extended period of time to really understand what type of player they are. You can't just go for one game. And now that I'm on the other side where I'm in the front office and I'm asked to go watch high school players or college players or whatever, like, you want to watch these guys take ground balls 4 or 5 times, take fly balls 4 or 5 times. You want to watch them, you know, BP for 4 or 5 times, different days. And then you want to watch games, like 2 weeks worth of games, because you want to see how they react to balls just over the infielder's head. Are they taking that extra base? Are they reading it quick off the bat? What are their intangibles? What are their instincts? Because baseball is an instinctual game, right? Yes, you have guys like Justin Upton or guys that are, you know, Corey Seager, picked really high out of high school and just kind of shoot through the minor league system because they're physically stronger. You know, their tools and talent allow all of that to happen faster. But if you really want to find like the true baseball player, or like they say like a baseball rat, or like the gritty player, you got to watch for an extended period of time, because you might go for a game and not see a ground ball hit to that guy, or he might walk twice and roll over once and fly out once and have some good at bats, but not necessarily have an opportunity to go first or third or steal second, or, you know, show what he's capable of. The way he cuts bases, like, is he stepping in the middle of the base, or is he like drilling the side of the base and cutting that corner? You know, like you see those things, like, man, that guy's a gamer.
Yeah, I mean, when I get a chance to talk to young kids, I kind of express that same thing. Like, baseball is one of those games where you can't really force the action, especially defensively. Like, you may be a center fielder, you might not get a ball the whole game, but what I try to remind a lot of people is, when people like you come out to watch them, you might not get a ball, you might get your 3 at bats, they might not go well, but if you could kind of win on those margins and allow them to come back by running down the line hard, interacting with your teammates, you know, cheering your teammates, celebrating their successes, do all those little things right. If you strike out, like, you don't show emotion, you act like you've been there, you know how to handle failure, it's going to allow you opportunities for them to come back and watch you again. I always try to tell people, you get written off one time for like attitude, discipline stuff, like, they ain't coming back to watch you. But if you check all those boxes, you're going to allow people to come back and watch you, and you're going to have opportunity to prove yourself.
I mean, you can say that, right? You can tell kids that, But for me, it's the love and passion for the game. Like if you love it and you're passionate about it and you're going to do anything in your control to help win that game, all that stuff's going to be there. Because if you're doing everything to win that game, you're going to support your teammates. You're going to be rooting them on to driving a guy in scoring position. You're going to be talking to the pitcher in between pitches and chatting up, and like you're going to be invested in that game. So normally the love of the game, the passion for the game kind of shines through. And
when did that start for you?
Oh,
because
man.
your dad,
like when I was 9.
Your dad he worked at the state prison, correct?
Yeah, he was
and he would come home and hit you fly balls and stuff. So like it started at a young age. Always loved it.
Well, my dad was known for driving around. We would call people, drive around the neighborhood, pick up a group of kids, 4 or 5 kids, go to the ballpark and just be there all day Saturday. We just ground balls, just turning over plays, hitting fly balls, taking BP, just all day. And then we go to 7-Eleven, get a big gulp and hit the pool. That was kind of our Saturdays. But my dad was great, man. He worked a tough job, probably emotionally, checked out at times just because it was probably an emotionally tough job. But he always made time for me. And I think that's super important. Also in baseball, basketball, you could grab your ball and go shoot on a hoop at the park, walk down to the park, go shoot, work on your moves, do whatever, by yourself. Where baseball, you need a friend or a father or an uncle or a mother or somebody to hit you balls, throw you BP, flip you stuff. So I think all of us, I shouldn't say all, I should say, the majority of us kind of reflect on that parental figure that kind of helps you as when you were super young, right? Mm-hmm. Like still learning, where you're just super green and trying to figure the game out. But there's always somebody there, whether it was a coach, youth coach, parent, uncle, cousin, like whatever. There's always somebody that, will be there to hit you grounders.
Speaking of your dad, is there truth? I think it was when you were 12 or 13. Did he bench you from an important game? Like a championship
yanked
game?
Me. Yeah. Yanked me. Championship game.
Okay.
Yanked me.
Wow.
So they don't do it anymore, but which I think we should get back to doing in youth sports is we used to take infield to outfield before the games. And so you'd sit and watch, you get to see the other guys throw, the outfielders throw their arms, how strong they are, who you want to run on, who you don't want to run on. They get to kind of, and your team gets to kind of show off. Like, we're really good.
Yeah. I mean, I used to love that as like a kid, like the infield, outfield, whether I was playing outfield or shortstop, or like, it was really kind of that opportunity to like show off either you individually, not necessarily for scouts, but like to the other team, be like,
right.
I'm a bad dude.
Right.
Like,
the other team used to line up to watch.
Yeah, used to watch. But it was also the way your team would kind of showcase.
Yeah, you get rowdy.
It used to be like warm-ups in basketball. You used to look across the way and be like, man, that team's good over there, right? That was the only thing you could do as a 12 or 13-year-old was take a crisp, sharp infield outfield.
Oh, it was huge. It was a huge part of the day. And they don't do it anymore. Now they line up at, they play on turf, so they line up the infielders, line up the outfielders, ground ball, fly ball, all in the same spot. There's nothing going on, which I think we should, if it's a turf field or natural field, I understand you can't rake the field in between games. They got these tournaments, but if it's turf, it takes 15 minutes to take an infield outfield.
A really good one takes about 8.
Yeah. A really good one, right? Where you're not overthrowing guys and whatever, it's crisp. But anyway, my dad was huge on the infield outfield. If you didn't show energy, if you weren't popping the ball around and like showing some sort of talk and hopping around and moving the ball fast, like he was not about it. So championship game, our infield was not great. We started off, overthrowing people and he would yank the team off the field. If we weren't invested, if we weren't doing it tight, if it wasn't tight, he would just whistle, let's go, get off the field. So we'd all run off the field and that's what happened, championship game. And he started giving us a speech or whatever. And I was kind of biting my lip, like probably looked like I was either laughing at him or not, like didn't agree with what he was saying and benched me. That was it. Sat there and watched us lose. It wasn't fun, but it was a learning experience. And, there was constant experiences like that. I can remember showing up at a little league game, summer league, you grow up in Arizona, you play summer ball, spring ball, fall ball, the whole thing, winter ball, there's constantly leagues going on. And in the middle of summer in Tucson, it's 110 and baking. And we showed up and I didn't necessarily want to be there. He was having us do extra work. And I told him, I'm like, it's too hot. And I just kind of blew it off. And he's like, oh, it's too hot. You can go sit in the car because everyone else wants to be here. And it's too hot for them also. So if you don't want to be here, you go ahead and you can beat it. Like go sit in the car if you don't want to play. And there was constant moments like that where you're just brought into the passion. Like you're prepared for those types of situations. And you understand, like, yeah, I don't want to show my weakness to the other team. I want to act like I'm there to win, be happy to be there. So he taught me and kind of put that chip on my shoulder at a young age of like, this is how you play baseball.
Do you think we need to get back there? Like, because it feels like in the youth industry, it's so much about trying to win every tournament. And obviously sitting out the championship game, you guys lost. Like, it sucks in the short term. You lose a championship game, but what it does for you as a player, as a human, as a eventual man, as, you know, a boy, like those are the things that, like you said, put a chip on your shoulder, allow you to understand the importance of why you're here.
Yeah. You know, this is always a tough conversation because we like to talk in absolutes where it's like, oh, we need to get back to that way. And everybody, you know, no one's doing it right anymore. Where that's not the case. There's a lot of really good coaches. Like my son, the team that my son plays for, the coach is very in tune to those types of things. And if you show that you're upset or you're not invested or you're going to be butthurt and sit on the bench in between at bats because you had a couple tough at bats and struck out twice, like, oh, you don't want to play? Okay, you can sit on the bench. And maybe next game you're hitting 12th or 11th or whatever when you were hitting second before. So there are coaches that still understand that. But I just think in today's game, we've gotten very in tune to the numbers of like, what's your bat speed? What's your exit velo? How hard do you throw it? How fast is your 60? Where the things that we're talking about develop mental toughness, and baseball is much that game. Like you've got to be tough because everyone around you is going to be tough. The higher you go, every level you go, there's going to be more and more guys that are tough mentally. And if you're not able to adapt, you're going to get left behind. So getting away from the numbers and understanding like how to be that tough type of ball player, that gritty type of ball player, I think will probably behoove you longer into your career than knowing that you can throw it 90 across the diamond. Because like we said, baseball, you got to watch for an extended period of time. And there's a lot of things that happen on the field that don't require those numbers, right? Like a 2-strike, you know, 0-2 nasty pitch. Does the dude just full A swing, and his swing speed was really fast and man, it looked really powerful and great, but he missed it by 2 feet. He's walking back to the dugout. Or did he like fight tooth and nail and put his butt out and one-hand it and bloop one over the shortstop's head and drive in a run? Is he playing the game? Or is he just A swinging all the time and trying to get off these computer numbered?
It's 21 degree, 110 mile an hour.
Yeah. You know, there's just so many more things that go into baseball.
Dude, that's awesome to hear you talk about. And you talk about like toughness and that like 110 degree, you know, day in Tucson. It's like, all right, like, you know, if you want to be here, I'll never forget. This is a teammate of yours, Mike Napoli. You know, you talk about like, you know, I think the word culture gets thrown around a lot, right? And I feel like culture is just merely a byproduct of what your team is willing to accept, right? Like it's like, all right, where's our bar? And what are we not going to allow in here? And what are we going to allow in here? That's just merely culture, right?
Absolutely.
And I remember opening day 2016, we were playing Boston in Cleveland. It was cold. It was like 20 degrees, blowing 30 miles an hour. And it was like that wind off the lake. And dude, it was freezing. And that's all I think the night before we were supposed to play and it got iced out or whatever. And so Napoli's, his thing was he would sit on the bench. He'd be out there early, like with the coaches and stuff like that. And he'd just be sitting there like He had no undershirt on. He's like an offensive lineman, and he just like is looking at people, like he's kind of checking, like looking at them, like as they're coming out, like, are you ready to go? Right. And I'll never forget him saying, like, I hope it gets colder.
Right.
And guys were like, what the hell are you talking about? Right. Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, bro, they've got to play in it too. This is one of those games where like whoever's tougher is going to win. This game has nothing to do with who's on the mound, who's talented, whatever it is. Whoever merely wants to be here is going to win.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, dude, holy crap. And he was coming in, like, we were a really talented team. We had a good young core that hadn't quite gotten over the hump yet, right? We were always getting beat by Detroit, but it was one of those like moments of realization for like us as a group, like watching like, the Corey Klubers and the Jason Kipnis's and the Michael Brantleys and the Lindors and, all these guys, kind of follow this guy of like, all right, this is what it takes. It doesn't take talent. It doesn't take this guy over here, this guy over here. It just merely takes who we have and just grit and toughness and what it is. And, you were recruited by, I know you didn't get a chance to really play for him. But I mean, Pat Murphy at Arizona State, like the culture he had there was, that was it, right? He wanted ball players, right? He didn't want the blue chips. Like, yeah, if the blue chip was a ball player, you can come play for me. But it's like, you had to be a ball player first. And so I know you sat behind somebody there and then you ended up going somewhere else. But how was your experience at Arizona State before you left?
It was a tough experience.
Was it?
And like you said, Murph ran a tight ship, man. He expected a lot of his players. I learned that portion of my life, my baseball life, I learned a tremendous amount from him, from Rooney, who is the assistant coach. Just ended up sitting and watching the game for the first time in my life, which I learned a lot that way. But I played terrible. Like I came in from Central Arizona Junior College. I was a starting shortstop. Dustin Pedroir was the second baseman. I played terribly for about a week and a half. And then Pedroia became the shortstop and never looked back. And I was basically just sitting watching him the whole time. But after every series, Murph would break down the whole series. There was some sort of messaging, right? Every series. And it was tough. He was tough on the guys. He expected a lot. And when I ended up transferring to the University of Missouri, I was so prepared to play at that level because of my experience at Arizona State, but I didn't even play.
Yeah.
I was just prepared mentally, more prepared mentally. I had great coaches along the way, starting in, Little League, high school, all the way through junior college. My coach there, Clint Myers, was fantastic. But Murph was a different level, right? Like there was some riddling going on. There was some, you never really knew what he was thinking. You were kind of walking around on eggshells at all times. It was different for me than it was for Pedroia, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But my experience was that way. And then when I transferred and ended up going to University of Missouri, I was more than prepared and ready to go. So it was a tough experience, but it was definitely worth it.
When you obviously, were you and Pedroia the same class? Same.
He was a year younger than me.
When you were watching him then, like, did everybody did you know, like, hey, I don't care how small this guy is, he's a dude. It's unbelievable. Really?
Yeah. Like you talk about Napoli and the mindset and the no excuses and almost like taking pride in the fact that there's shadows, in the fact that the batter's eye's bad, in the fact that the lights stink and I can't see. Like, that's when he wanted to play.
Yeah.
That's when those real guys, they're like, oh, you're going to complain about the lights? I'm not. This is awesome. I'm going to go. Or you see that pitcher in the cold weather lick his hands and he can't get the grip on the ball. And you're like, oh, you're done. You're mine. Like this guy's already, I can see he's baffled. Like he's making excuses out there. I'm going to tear this guy a new one. And Pedroia embodied that. Like that's who he was. Like that's the type of player he was. And you can talk about his size and he had to be that way or whatever you want to say, but like that was him as a person, not that he wasn't like that because of his size. Like that's who he was. And he took every day as a challenge and he was going to dominate every day. And it was really fun to watch.
Dude, I've heard I played against him a little bit. I never played with him, but like, he's one of those guys. He's almost like a mythical character, right? Like you hear all of these stories and you're like, that had to be like embellished, right? Like that had to be, I've heard it is all like true. And also too, like, some guys, they kind of take on this persona, like when they get to the ballpark, right? Like maybe like a starting pitcher, right? Like they, when they're, it's like their day. Dude, I heard he's like that all the time.
Oh, he's
like goes home on the plane, like
full uni. 5 hours before first pitch, spikes on.
Dude's locked in.
Yeah.
Dude's locked in. There's no break ever. Like off the field, on the bird, wherever he's locked in. Like there's something, he's going to hit you with something. He's going to jab at you. Like he's constantly talking, constantly like keeping the boys going. He's ready to go, man.
Man, when Tito would talk about him or tell stories about him, man, it was like, dude, this can't be. This can't be real.
Yeah,
and everybody that knows him is like, no, it's 100% real.
Yeah, it's real.
Hilarious.
So,
he was like that in college. Same way.
That's wild.
You get to University of Missouri. You pretty much sat the whole year, not like a red shirt. You didn't red shirt or anything.
No,
so you lost a year eligibility. Obviously, probably tough, right? Where most people now would probably say, if I ain't playing, I'm redshirting, I'm leaving right away. You talked about learning a lot. Obviously watching a guy like Pedroir, being around Pat Murphy, you get your opportunity to play. Invaluable the year you sat in order to kind of prepare and kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously put this huge chip on your shoulder.
That's
like, I couldn't play. Now I'm getting an opportunity to play.
Yeah. It was a good
kind of
mix.
felt like you kind of felt like I'm here. I sat, I earned my stripes. It's my opportunity to go out there and make the best of this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And my mindset, I was probably naive at that young age. I sat there and watched Pedroia and I'm like, I'm better than this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my mind, I'm like, I understand why I'm not playing, but like I can do everything this guy's doing. Like he's not better than me. So I was always naive in that fact. So moving to Missouri, it was like, okay, it's time for me to prove how good I really am. And then getting the opportunity there to play shortstop, be in the Big 12. At the time, it was still, Texas, A&M, Texas Tech, Kansas, Nebraska was really good at the time. Mm-hmm. It was at Oklahoma State. All these teams were Big 12. So it was a good baseball conference. So I knew, all right, this is my opportunity to really get back on the scene. My goal is to be drafted. Like going into your junior year, I knew I lost a year. I had been drafted twice up to that point. I was moving regions.
Yeah.
So I was getting out of Arizona. So I knew it was going to be a whole new group of people that were able to see me play.
Yeah.
And that it was just, I was so excited for that opportunity, and Missouri was a great place to be.
Missouri's known like great baseball program. A lot of arms, like a lot of big arms have come out of Missouri. But like you said, like Big 12 baseball, like that was big time baseball back then. That was what, 2003? 2003.
When you look back at your time in Missouri, would you say better than 17th round?
What round were you drafted in?
32nd.
Were you better in the 32nd round?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but I was also a Division II guy, like senior side.
No, but
I was better than the 32nd round for sure.
In your
mind.
And
then obviously it's proven out to be that way. But in the moment, yes, I thought. Did I think I was supposed to be a first, second rounder? Probably not. But I thought day 2, 10th round maybe. Like I dominated the level that I played at.
Right.
Like I was the best player on the field when I played. I proved it in summer ball when I went to play summer ball that I could play with all these D1 guys. Yes, I was better than 32nd round.
Right.
And you felt that way.
I did.
And obviously your statistics and stuff, just another chip to put on your shoulder. What sort of, like, how do you stay motivated? Because it feels like it's just been like a series of, kind of FUs along your way.
That's how you stay motivated.
Yeah.
You truly believe in your mind, in your heart, like, okay, like you're going to draft me in the 17th round.
Yeah,
okay. You just got a first rounder in the 17th round. Like, watch this, like, and then you
Y'all
just
found 450 guys that are better than me.
Right. Like that's ridiculous.
I mean, honestly, I'm not to the extent of like, you see a lot of these NFL guys, like they know everyone that went in front of them. Cause they're still back in first rounders. It's like 10 names. I don't know all 900 and
I know a lot of
I don't know all 900 and whatever number, but I used to tell myself, I think I was 979. I used to like rehearse to myself, there's not 978 guys better than me.
No chance. And for me, I just wanted to be drafted. So I was super grateful for the opportunity to be picked in the 17th round. But like you said, the chip got bigger. And at that moment, I just wanted to play baseball every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. I wanted to wake up in the morning. I wanted to go to the yard. I wanted to work on it and see how good I could get. And I was like so excited for that opportunity. I'm like, oh man, I get to go to the facility every single day. I get to work on getting better, figuring out how to hit. Cause I knew I had power, but it never really showed itself in my prep years in college. But I knew I could do it. I knew I had some sock. I knew I was really good defensively. I knew all these things. I knew I was fast. I knew I could do things on the baseball. I knew I had instincts, like all this stuff. And it's like, oh man, I get to go to the ballpark every single, I don't have to worry about school anymore. I can just solely focus on getting better, going to the cage for hours and ground ball after ground ball. I have 6 coaches instead of 1 that want to hit me ground balls at any time. I just go find somebody and I could take ground balls. So I was so excited for that. But yes, I thought I was better in the 17th round. But at the end of the day, I was just so excited to get to the facility and just like dominate the day, right? Like,
so easy decision. You get drafted. I think that you signed for 30,000. Like it wasn't necessarily even about the money.
I got a pair of shoes too. I got a pair of cleats. Yeah,
got a pair of cleats.
Yeah,
so
they're in my locker when I got to Spokane.
30,000, a pair of cleats. Like easy, yes. It wasn't about. You weren't necessarily thinking like, "Hey, I needed life-changing money." You're like, "I want opportunity to just play baseball."
It was honestly, I never played for money. Like. People might think, oh yeah, you can say that now, but I just loved playing baseball. Mm-hmm. And the money was just part of it. I never was trying to get that next contract. I was never trying to get paid more. I was never trying to not get set down to the minors. So, bullpen pitchers, obviously it's a little different. There's a lot of movement going on. There's, you throw, you're long guy. You're kind of a long guy. You're a guy that cleans stuff up. You throw 3 innings and it's like, oh man, we need a new arm in here. Yep. And so you're getting rotated out and you kind of understand that's your life, right? So I knew a lot of guys that pitched in the bullpen that they were constantly thinking about that stuff. And I just remember thinking like, dude, I don't think about that at all. Like, I just want to be the best player on the field daily and all that will take care of itself. And that's just how I always played. I think it's because I just love playing baseball so much. That was never really a thought.
How much did you know about the minor leagues before you got in? Because I've talked about it on other episodes. Like, I think one of my superpowers was I was so naive.
Yeah,
it was kind of the same. It's kind of the same mindset. Was, I got drafted. I went to short season. I didn't realize I had like 9 levels to climb.
Right.
Like, I was just out there because I loved playing, and I had this huge chip on my shoulder. My sole purpose was to be the best player on the field and prove everyone wrong.
Yep.
And then, I started getting promoted and I didn't realize like I was still so far away, but I never concerned myself with like who's getting called up, who's getting called down, who's moving. Like I just played because first of all, I loved it. Second of all, I was on a mission to just prove everyone wrong.
Yes, that's 100% true when I first got there. And then I got invited to instructional league after my first year. I was so honestly, lucky moment, I guess you can say, but I was a 17th rounder. Normally 17th rounders don't get to go to instructional league after their first year. It's a top 10 rounds and you got your guys that you invested in, they're coming to instructional league, you get extra work. I get the envelope on my seat. Oh, you're going to instructional league. I was like, oh my God, yes.
More baseball.
And I get to learn more and be around all these guys that were in AA and like AAA and these dudes that are supposed to be better than me or whatever. So I go there, love it, then and play really well. Like,
do you think that experience too? Because we've talked about it too. Like, at least my summer ball experience playing D2, going to play in the Northwoods League, I was around better competition that I'd ever been around, and that's when I sized myself up, and I knew mentally I could go places in baseball. Do you feel that same way in instructional league when you were at the lower levels? Then you're around these upper level minor leagues, and you're like, these guys aren't better than me.
I was the same since high school. Every level I went. High school, there's guys, Duncan brothers are getting picked in the first round. Brian Anderson's going to UVA, get picked in the first round. Scott Harrison's getting picked in the first round. Like family lineage baseball players. Like I always felt like these guys aren't better than me. And then I go to Arizona State, same thing. And I sat, but I still felt that way. Missouri playing the Big 12, I feel that way. Omar Quintanilla, who ended up being a great teammate of mine, awesome dude in Texas. He was playing for the University of Texas and he ended up being like a supplemental rounder. And I'm thinking like what? You know, like I can probably run circles around this guy, but you know, whatever. But along the way, and then you get to instructs and you're like, yeah, it's just baseball. Like I'm really good at this game and I love it. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and producing and performing and showing people what I can do. But the first time that it really hit me like levels, you know, you go to short season, low A, high A, double A, triple, you're trying to climb the ladder, right? The first time it really hit me was after that instructs. I outperformed everybody there. I was really good. I kind of opened a bunch of eyes in the organization. And then we go to spring training the next year and they pull everybody together and they're like, all right, this team's going to high A. So basically skipping a level, right? Skipping low A, going to high A. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the shortstop in high A for sure. Right? Like I just dominated instructs. No, I'm going to low A. I'm going to Clinton, Iowa. So I'm like, oh, okay. We're going to do this again, you know? And I've been schooled up to that point, you know, enough already in my life that it really didn't bother me at all. I'm like, I'll just go dominate there.
Yeah. And dominate. Do you know what you hit in 224 at bats in low A?
Yeah, I know.
I do.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, I think it was like 402 or something.
402, 465, 692 slug. I'd say that's dominating.
I was in a tree. I was in a tree. Yeah, I wasn't coming down. It was insane. Like every time I swung a bat, it found a hole. It was wild. But then, you know, I was just dominating this level and I'm having a great time because I'm hitting 400. So like, this is the best baseball I've ever played. I'm loving life. Clinton, Iowa was the greatest city in America to me. Everyone else hates it. I love it. And then Drew Myers, who was a first round pick out of South Carolina a couple years prior, was in AA in Frisco and broke his wrist on a tag play at second. And I got the call into the office and they're like, hey, you're going to Frisco. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm going to AA. Like, this is crazy. All right, let's do this. This is awesome. You know, I'm so fired up. And that's where I started to figure out like how all of this works, right? Like Drew gets hurt. They pick me, obviously. So you have to be playing well at all times. Like if I wasn't playing well at that time and Drew gets hurt, I'm not going to AA. I don't
Probably
get to
taking the guy from high A.
They're taking the guy from high A. I don't get to leap that whole level and be put so close to the big leagues if I'm not playing well. So I'm like, man, you just got to keep your head down and you got to play your best every single day. That's how you get to the big leagues. And then when you get there, it's just much of the same, right? Like the stress level and the microscope on every game in the big leagues is so much brighter, that you feel it a little bit more. But at that point, for me personally, I was so prepared to I'm just playing my best baseball daily. Like that's the goal, right? Where now I think guys get moved so quickly to the big leagues that they lose that lesson a little bit. And then they get put into the spotlight so much earlier now. And guys take a while. I feel like it takes a little bit longer for them to adjust to that big league level. But, you know, that's kind of the first time I understood the pecking order and how this works and guys getting hurt and like you getting sent. Before that, I was just playing. Like I wasn't thinking about the dude getting hurt in AA. I was just trying to hit 400.
You said you started understanding the business. True to this, in July, you got traded to Colorado for Larry Walker.
Very true.
And he vetoed the trade.
Very true.
Have you ever kind of sat back and thought about what would have happened if you went to Colorado? Probably the same thing.
I mean, you know, Troy Tulowitzki was there. You know, so I might have, you know, might have been
Clint
a little
Barmas
bit different.
Clint
Barmas was at second. So like they had a team. They were a really good team at that moment. Or like trading Larry Walker to, you know, acquire more prospects because they probably saw their bunch coming through or young players, young group.
Because that would have been around. That would have been around the same time as Tulo coming up, right?
Yeah, very very similar times. I think. Might have been the same year, honestly. He might have been a rookie that year.
2000.
And I might have been in AA. He might have been a rookie. Maybe AAA or AA. It was very similar times. You know, I might have been playing left field or center field if I get traded to Colorado. Who knows?
That'd be wild.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand that too. You kind of talked on getting to the big leagues, obviously overcoming a lot of difficult times in the minor leagues, always putting yourself in a position where like I'm playing well so you can get promoted. But the other part is there has to be path for you to get there. A lot of it is you doing your part, but also opportunity, at the big league level too. And I know, at least in my situation, that, once I got to AA and AAA, like there wasn't necessarily that staple guy in center or left field, which gave me my opportunity. We had a guy in Jose Batista in right that I wasn't taking his job. But you think about a lot of these teams, the early mid 90s with the Yankees, like where are you coming up? So you have to, I think you maybe reflect on it later in life. Like your opportunity in Texas was your clearest path. Not to say that there wasn't a guy, Alfonso Soriano, ahead of you, but it ended up working out.
Well, we all know that there is some luck involved, right?
Yeah.
There's timing to it. And who knows why some guys are in the right spot at the right time. We don't know that. But the only thing that you can control is how well you're playing. That's it. I mean, I know guys that were stuck in AAA for a really long time, were really good players, but never really got that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And never really, we don't know their names. They got a cup of coffee here and there, sent back down, or they come up when a guy gets hurt. So a lot of it is timing and luck, right? Soriano was a second baseman. They ended up trading him to the Nationals, moved Mike Young from second to short, and that gave me an opportunity. And they brought in Frank Catalanato and they brought in Mark DeRosa to compete with me for second base that spring training. And all three of us made the team in 2006. So
because in 2005, you got your first big league spring training, right?
Yes.
So you were still around.
Sori was the second baseman. Like you said with Bautista, like I'm not taking this dude's job.
What was that guy like? Like, because that was your first big league camp.
This dude was wild, man. He was a freak of nature. He was so wiry, strong, lanky. He stood all over the plate with like a 36-inch bat.
Dude, I always wondered, I'm like, man, this guy looks like he's using a tree trunk.
It's a tree trunk. It's giant.
And he gets it around.
He whips that thing through, man. And that spring training in 05, it was funny enough. He went like 0 for 28 or something. Like he wasn't getting hit. The media was all at his locker every day. I was playing fantastic. Obviously, I'm not taking his position. He's getting paid 20 whatever million a year. But just the whole thing. And then he had a pretty decent year in 05, but then traded to DC, and there was no infielder in return. And they announced that they're moving Michael Young to short, and I'm reading all of this as it's information's coming out, and I'm like, man, this is unbelievable.
Was it in 05? Who was playing shortstop in pre-05? Was it A-Rod?
Oh no, you're right. Michael Young was a shortstop, but yeah, A-Rod was there. Michael was playing second.
That's right.
And then Soriano gets traded from New York, and Mike moves to short, and then they trade Soriano. There you go.
Okay.
So you spent, and then that year you spent the whole year in AAA after big league camp. And
05.
they were kind of grooming you to take that spot. You moved from short to second.
So
were you playing short and second
I was
already?
being groomed to play one of the three.
So you were playing all three infield
playing
positions.
third as well.
I was playing third. The funny story, I kind of dominated that spring training, and Buck Showalter was the manager. He calls me in the office to tell me I'm getting sent down. And it was like him, general manager, hitting coach, bench coach. And he says, I'm going to send you down to AAA. I want you to be completely honest with me. What did you think about big league spring training? Like your first real opportunity against big league arms and doing this whole thing. And I said, do you want me to be honest with you? And he said, yeah, I want you to be honest. And I said, okay. I thought it was easier, it was easier than I thought it was going to be. That's what I said to him. And he did that. He started laughing at me. And Buck kind of rocks back in his chair, and he's kind of thinking about it. He's kind of staring at me. And he said, all right, I'm going to send you to AAA. You're going to have the hardest month of your life in AAA. And I'm just listening at this point, and I'm just sitting there, and my head's so big at this moment. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, dude, I'm going to go rip apart AAA. Sure enough, I go there. I'm hitting eighth. I'm playing third base 2 days, shortstop 2 days, second base 3 days, third base. And I'm hitting at the end of April or whatever, at the end of the first month, I'm hitting like $180. And I am struggling. And I'm like, how does this guy know, man? God, this is the worst. This is terrible. I'm playing terrible. And finally, Bobby Jones, who was the manager at the time, calls me in the office and he goes, hey, tomorrow you're completely off. You're not playing. Don't even get dressed. Like, don't even put on your cleats, nothing. Come late. No BP. Don't touch a bat. Complete day off tomorrow. Next day, you're going to be batting second and you're going to play second base every day. And I was like, oh, thank God. So I was trying to learn third. I was trying to learn second. Wheels were spinning. Couldn't hit. So this huge weight comes off my shoulders. And the next day I show up late. I got my sunglasses on. I got my tennis shoes. I'm sitting down at the bottom of the dugout. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning. We're losing. This is Bobby Jones for you, my AAA manager. We're losing the game. We're down by 4 or whatever. First 2 guys get out. So we're 1 out away from getting out of there and losing essentially. And Bobby goes, Kinsler. He calls me. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? I thought I had a day off. And I walked down there and I'm like, what's up, Bobby? He goes, you ready to go? Are you loose? And I'm like, no, I thought I had the day off. And we're hitting. So everybody's in the dugout, right? And he goes, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I was going to pinch hit you so we could get the hell out of here. Like basically I was going to make the last out of the inning so the game could be over and we can get out. And everybody starts laughing at me. And it's just like this huge weight off my shoulders, don't take things so seriously and be ready to play tomorrow. And from that point on, it was much better. But Bobby Jones and AAA taught me a lot.
That's awesome. So, dude, that's awesome. So we had Buck on, and man, dude, like the guy, he was incredible. Like his episode, like if we didn't run out of film, it could have went like 7 hours. But so you make your debut the next year, and Buck's still the manager, right? So he tells you make the team. Opening day.
Well, first of all, what was that conversation like?
Yeah, how did Buck tell you made the team?
He calls you in the office, let you know.
Well, I had a towel on, and I was in Tucson actually. I was in Tucson, Arizona. We were playing the Rockies. Shockingly.
Is your family still in Tucson?
My family's there.
Okay. So they probably come to the game.
Everybody's there. Yeah, my family's there. My wife's there. I got a couple friends that came out to watch the game, and we're going to, I don't know, some TGI Fridays or something after the game. I don't know. We're gonna go,
of course.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. We're gonna go get some bourbon chicken or whatever. I don't know. And so I'm just excited to get out of there and go hang out with my family and be back home. And Don Wakamatsu walks into the shower and he's like, "Hey, Buck wants to see you real quick." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm thinking like, this I could be known right now it's toward the end of spring training.
Yeah.
If I made a team or not.
And going in, you knew you were competing with those 2 guys.
Yeah. Like, and I've had a great spring training.
Like the path was cleared.
Yes.
Mike's playing short.
Yep.
You're playing everyday second base. They probably tell you, hey, you're going in competing for this job.
Yes. And he comes and gets me while I'm in the shower. And I'm so excited. I don't even dry off. I just like throw a towel around and go into Buck's office. I'm soaking wet. Like shower shoes, towel. And I'm like, "You want to see me?" And he's like, "Yeah, sit down." I'm just sitting there, just drenched, like haven't really dried off. He's like, "You want to dry off?" "No, I'm good. What do you got?" And he's like, "Just want to tell you, you're made the opening day roster. You're going to be our opening day second baseman. I know you're home. Get out of here. Go celebrate." So Buck was always thinking about those types of things.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man. What a cool thing to do because, like knowing that you were at home, you had family there, like you were able to like basically walk out. Your family's waiting for you.
Yeah, it was an incredible moment. It was
when you told your wife. What was that like?
I don't know. People weren't really shocked. Like like it wasn't a. I don't know if from the outside looking in, I was having a great spring training. Second base is open. That they were just like, yeah, he's probably going to be the opening.
Not a lot of guys make their debut on opening day.
Yeah, it was super special. It was super, and it was at home. We opened up in Texas
against Boston,
against Schilling, Curt Schilling. It was special. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. But they were obviously really happy, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah,
they just knew you had kind of.
I feel like they knew
you kind of went down this journey. You checked all the boxes, like it was
just your time.
Yeah, I think was more of the feeling. Obviously, celebration. We got to go out to eat and
got 2 bourbon chickens.
Yeah.
It's on me, guys.
Got a cold beverage and hung out.
That's awesome.
It's now on me. I got it.
That's awesome.
So safe to say, we love asking guys kind of welcome to the show moment. Opening day, Curt Schilling on the bump probably doesn't get any more eye-opening than that.
No, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. And, knees were shaking and trying to compose yourself and stay with your routine. Stay mentally focused on what you're trying to execute and the pitches that he has and the situation of the game and everything. But for me, it was like, honestly, it was more to my advantage facing somebody like him because I'd watched him my whole like when I faced guys that I had seen growing up in my childhood, where I'm like, oh, dude, I'm facing Pedro Martinez tomorrow. I have this dialogue of like watching this guy pitch and knowing what he's trying to do. And so I'd watch Curt Schilling. Like I'd seen this guy pitch bloody sock, postseason, Diamondbacks, like dominating split finger. So I've seen this moment. Like I've faced this guy a bunch of times already in my head.
It's similar now, but different because, you know, we used to watch the games. Now all the kids say, oh, I faced him on MLB The Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guess kind of the same, right? At least you got some experience against them.
Yeah,
right?
They're getting some experience. They know all of the pitches, even though MLB The Show might add a couple, you know.
But when you're facing him, from everything that you've kind of like told us about yourself, are you seeing Curt Schilling as kind of this mythical creature that you watched on TV, or are you still so like unbelievably confident in your ability? It's like, okay, this is just the guy I'm facing.
It just turns into pure excitement when you're facing somebody like that. Like your confidence is still super high and you're like, dude, I'm going to dominate this guy. He's not that good. Like what, I don't understand why he's had so much success. You know, that's the mental game. So it's almost like again, it's almost it was to my advantage. Like when I was facing Pedro or Randy Johnson, obviously they were at the end of their career. So they didn't have the same stuff that they had when I was watching them grow up, but the excitement, like facing Greg Maddux. And so I remember facing Greg Maddux in spring training, and I am like over my head. I'm through the roof. I just want to face this guy so bad. I'm like, this guy, there's no way this guy's that good. He's throwing 89, dude. There's no way this guy's going to get me out. Right. Like but you're also just incredibly excited to face a legend and somebody that you'd watched growing up and being on the same field as them. Like my first moment, I can remember Ray Durham. My first big league moment, like when they invite minor league guys over and you get to cover the big league guys.
Yeah.
In the ninth inning, you'd go in for defense or whatever. And you're wearing number 98. Like my first moment was I'm standing at second base and like Ray Durham's still in the game for some reason. And I just remember him walking up to the plate and I'm like, damn, that guy's big, man. Like he's big and strong and he's got these big hands and like, he just looks like a grown man. Right. Yeah. Like, and he rolls one over to me and I catch it and I throw it to first and I'm like, that is awesome. Like Ray Durham just hit me a ground ball. I'd watched this guy my whole life. And, you just start to feel the sense of belonging as those moments continue to happen. Right. And you're like, man, I can do this. Like, it's just baseball. Like any other time I played it. But facing guys like that's the most fun.
And you got a hit when first at bat, second at bat?
First at bat, he threw me a little split and I lined it in the right field.
Don't go down and in. Don't go down and in. I'm telling you, don't go down and in.
I actually hit the right field, which is crazily shocking.
This is something that we've kind of talked about too. And you talk about belonging and just like you're on the same field. Like we talk about like, man, I can't believe we got to share the same field with like some of these guys, like Trout, no time, some of these great players. But I'll never forget when I was like acknowledged by like one of those guys, right? Like, like when I'm walking out of the bullpen or whatever, and I remember when Torrey Hunter, like I'm walking out of the bullpen, we're in Cleveland, this is before they stacked the bullpens. This is when one was in center, one was in right. And we're walking out there and Torrey just kind of like, hey, Cody, what's up? And I was like, holy shit, he knows my name. Yeah. It's like one of those things, just like, like, and that kind of, it was like my first full season or whatever. I think I had some time the year before, but it was like this holy crap moment of like, all right, man, like I'm a big leaguer, right? Was there a moment like that? You talk about the Ray Durham one, but was there a moment like that, like early on in that 06 season, like, when you guys played, New York and Jeter sliding in the second, you're like, oh, you all right, man? Sorry, let me help you up. Like, was there a moment like that for you?
It's funny you say New York because that's where my dad grew up.
Okay.
And that's where my grandpa lived his whole life. So I had been to Yankee Stadium, a handful of times in my life. And I'd seen those Yankee teams. Like I'd seen those great teams. I'd seen Clemens pitch in Yankee Stadium. And I'd seen Mattingly hit when I was a young kid, like 5-6 years old. So I'd been in that stadium and it felt, like almost part of my family, Yankee Stadium, right? Like my grandpa took me there.
And this is the old stadium.
This is the old stadium before the new one was built. So that first time stepping in the Yankee Stadium was was pretty damn special. And Boston as well. Like, these are before all this live streaming and cameras in every field. You watch the Cubs, you watch the Braves, right? And then ESPN always had Fenway or New York on the TV. So you got to see Fenway Park. So this place to me was giant.
Yeah.
Like, so big. This ballpark was humongous. That was my image of it. And then I walked into it the first time and I'm like,
shoebox.
this is a Cracker Jack box. Like, dude, that left field fence is so close.
Yeah.
But I can remember walking through on the concourse in Fenway for the first time. And as you're walking to the field, you get the aisles, right? Like, you get your glimpse to the field.
Yeah.
And I can remember the first time seeing the green monster. And that really stands out to me for some reason. And I don't know if it's because of all those ESPN nights and watching, Yankees, Red Sox as a kid and the battle in Fenway and in Yankee Stadium. And, but those two places, Yankee Stadium and Fenway really, really stood out to me as like, all right, I'm in the big leagues now. This is crazy. Like, Babe Ruth played here, like, like Mickey Mantle's here, like all these, you start thinking about the history of the game, and, those two places really did it.
How difficult was, so going back to your debut, you get your head off Curt Schilling, first at bat, things are rolling. April 11th, dislocate your thumb. Like, you finally get your opportunity. We talked about all these kind of things from childhood, through high school, sitting, college, minor leagues. Finally get your opportunity to dislocate your thumb.
Yeah.
You got to sit out.
Yeah, it happened. I was out for about a month, maybe a little over a month. And Mark DeRosa was on the team at the time, and he took over second base, and he was playing awesome. And the team was doing great. I think we were in first place, or maybe a game out or something. It was, we were playing really well. And I remember a little bit of a prolonged IL stay. Like, they wouldn't let me get out of Arizona. Like, I'm good. My thumb's good. And they're like, oh, a couple more days. And I didn't, at the time, you're so naive, you're a young kid. You're like, all right, I guess I just stay here a couple more days. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're not thinking like, oh, they need to move somebody off the roster and this guy, the domino effect that it causes. You're not thinking about that at all. You're so stuck in your own world on trying to be prepared and be ready and playing your best baseball and being healthy and your day-to-day routine that you're not thinking about what dominoes need to fall or whatever. But broke my thumb. I was playing fantastic baseball. Broke my thumb in Anaheim.
Sliding into first?
Sliding into second. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I caught my thumb on the base or if it was a hard tag. I think it was Adam Kennedy at the time. And I don't know if the tag like hit me as I was, but it was messed up. I had my joint was like below my thumbnail. It was pretty nasty, but coming back and having them plug me right back into the lineup playing second base is just a huge confidence boost, right?
Yeah.
And then my first game back, I ended up hitting 2 home runs against Oakland in our ballpark. And that took a ton of like pressure. Obviously you got the media now you're dealing with in the big leagues where you show up, you've been gone for a month, you're a rookie. They put you right back in the lineup. DeRosa's a veteran. He's been playing second really well. So I'm getting all these questions asked. And to be able to have a big game was huge.
Were you hitting at the time? You're not leading off yet.
No, I was kind of moving around. Like I think opening day, I might've been hitting 9th or 8th or somewhere. And then they would kind of move me to 7th, and then they'd kind of move me back down. They moved me to 6th. They'd move me back down. And I think by the end of the season, I had a couple like second. I think I hit 4th one time or 5th. So it was like that rookie year with Buck.
Yeah,
I was all over the place.
Yeah, he was a guy he kind of liked to move guys around in the lineup. But all right, so you have your debut season, come back from the DL, have a huge confidence boost. Like basically they're telling you like, hey, you're our second baseman. Like you're our guy. You go into 2007. You have a great year, 2020 year, even though you missed 26 games, but you guys still haven't you're still that kind of like offensive juggernaut that just, wins a lot of 10-8 games, right? Like something like that. When do they trade Teixeira? When do they make the big trade to get the pieces like Elvis? Because the Teixeira trade was for Elvis, Matt Harrison?
Man, we got a haul.
Yeah, it was
we got
ton of
Neftali
guys.
Feliz.
That's right.
Matt Harrison, Jared Saltalamacchia, Elvis Andrews, a guy named Bo Jones or something, who was like supposed to be one of the better prospects in their organization. And I'm not sure if he ever made it to the big leagues, but great right-handed arm. Like we got a ton of players for Tex. To be honest with you, I have no idea when it happened. I think it must have been the deadline.
Okay. So, but that was that 2007?
2007.
2007. So, and then when was Wash's first year?
2007.
2007 was Wash's first year?
2007 was Wash's first year.
All right. So, 2008, you signed your contract extension.
Yeah.
So we talk about like, man, we play this game for a long time, and just getting to the big leagues is difficult. Staying is even harder. You signed that contract extension. What is that? Like, do they approach you about it? Does your agent talk to them about it? Like, is it one? Because sometimes, guys are, like, hey, man, like, I just, if there's any way we can work something out, and the team's like, all right.
And what was more important, because you're a baseball guy, was like the guaranteed of the 5 years that I'm going to be a second baseman, or the $22 million more important to you?
Man, this is all funny because I'd played well up to that point.
Yeah.
And I'd established myself as a good big league baseball player. And John Daniels approached me after the season and said, I want to meet you for lunch or something. And I'm like, oh, what?
And you're living here at the time, like
I'm living here. I'm like in Bedford,
you
living
made
in Bedford.
off-season home in Texas.
So he's here. I'm working out at the ballpark every day. And he says, I want to take you to lunch. And I'm like, great. Say, where do you want to go? And this is where I'm at this stage in life. Talking to, like TGIF or whatever. But I'm like, oh yeah, meet me at the Chili's over on, I'm like telling the general manager to meet me at Chili's. That's like where I was at that stage of my life, right? Like that's a big deal to me, So we're sitting in some booth in Chili's. And
he met you at Chili's.
Oh, he met me. He walked in. Like it was just me and him sitting in a booth.
He didn't say like, how about I pick the spot? He's just like,
no, he's like, where do you want to eat? So that's awesome. Like, that's where I'm eating at that time in my life. I didn't, I grew up in Tucson, man. Like Chili's.
JD at the time was probably barely 30.
Yeah, he was like,
so he might have been eating Chili's too.
Yeah, he's probably feeling good about that skillet.
Like, perfect.
Yeah, I love Chili's.
So it's just me and the general manager sitting in Chili's, and we're just talking, having lunch, whatever, like going over the team, going over my season. He's very light conversation. And then at the end, he like slides this envelope across the table. And he says, this is an extension offer. Do not open it here. Wait till you get home. Open it with your wife. Whatever. So I'm like, oh my God, like they're offering me an extension. This is crazy. Right. So I'm like, it takes everything to not open that thing.
Did you open it in the car?
I did not.
You didn't?
I did not. I waited for my wife. I put it on the passenger seat and I'm like, all right, this is going to be awesome. Right. So I get home and I'm holding it. I'm like, Tess, the Rangers offered me an extension. I don't know what's in here. I don't know what the offer is. I haven't opened it yet. I want you to open it. So I give it to her. And she opens it and she's looking at it and she starts bawling, like hysterically crying. And I'm like, give me that. Like, what's going on? Like how much, I'm dying at this point. Like, what is this offer? And it's like 5 years guaranteed with like 3 option years for like $11 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed. I'm like, she's crying. And she's like, what are you so mad for?
Was she crying like a joy because she thought 11 was a lot?
She was ecstatic. Like she was bawling because I'm like, my demeanor changes when I see it.
Yeah.
And she's reads it and she's like, what's wrong? Like, that's a lot of money. She's like crying. She's like, it's so much money. And she's bawling. And I'm like, this is a horseshit offer. Like, this is a slap in the face, So that was the first offer. That kind of started the whole process. Obviously call my agent, tell my agent what they offered. He's like, yeah, it's not happening, but this is kind of how it starts. This is how the whole process begins. And then we start negotiating. We negotiate. Shoot, I don't know. I think it was through the All-Star break.
Dang, that's a long time.
Off season to the All-Star break.
And then we shut it down. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because they're obviously not going to budge.
Yeah.
And then in the offseason, I ended up signing my deal.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a long time to try.
So in
work something out
2008,
like that.
you're negotiating this deal through the All-Star break.
2007.
Oh, 2007. Okay.
Negotiating
So then
through
you
the All-Star
sign it.
break, and then spring training 08, I signed the deal.
Oh, and then you go off.
And then I
you
go
make your
off.
first
Yeah,
All-Star deal. That's what happens. Dude. That's
Yeah,
how it happens.
it was so amazing. Like, obviously knowing that you belong, knowing you're established a little bit, but then that contract on top of it, you know what it's like walking into the locker room. You know, you sign a deal, whether it's a 1-year deal or a 5-year deal or whatever, like, you know, they're committed to you.
Yeah.
Everyone in the locker room knows they're committed to you. And it's just like this different level.
It's a feeling
right?
of like, dude, you're like one of the guys that we're building this thing around.
Yes.
Man, like that is a very, you know, I think all of us here too, like, because, you know, whether it be going from like making your high school team or your college team, or like all of us, essentially, you're like, man, I just want to be a part of this team.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a part of this team. Like, that's one of the beautiful things about baseball. And because it is such a long season, like, you know, in a 160 game season, you know, there might be 80 guys that come and go, but there's probably going to be, of that active roster, there's probably 12 to 13 guys this is the team that the team is being built around.
No doubt.
And to kind of be pulled into that group and be like, kind of, you know, hey, we're making you a part of this.
Yes.
Man, that's
well,
that's
then you
pretty
also
cool
have
feeling.
guys like Michael Young, obviously the leader of the team. Now my locker's right next to his, right? So it's like this whole shift. And now he's talking to me after the games, you know, like, we're having insight. We're talking about games. We're talking about gameplay.
You got his phone number.
Yeah.
You might actually get to hang out with him.
Right.
Outside, yeah.
Right. Like, it's a completely different.
You guys were playing up the middle together, but we would only talk baseball like on the field.
Yeah.
Now you're actually friends.
Yes.
He said, hey, you want to come over to the house?
Right.
Because he feels like he can be committed to you.
Yes.
He has the emotional capacity for you because he knows he can invest in you because you're going to be there a long time.
100%.
So in addition to that deal, Wash makes you a leadoff hitter too. That's something you kind of always saw yourself doing. You getting a chance to kind of be the heir apparent to Alfonso Soriano. Did you ever kind of like watch him and be like, I think I could be that kind of 30-30, 40-40 speed power combination guy?
Not really. You know, he was on such a different level at that time as far as 30-30, 40-40. Like, this guy was crazy. He was crazy special. So that was never really something that I, you know, a goal that I set out or something that I wanted to achieve until I got to that 2020 level, where after 07, my second year in the big leagues, I was like, man, I can do this. Like, I really need to work hard.
And you missed 26 games. So
yeah. Like, I can be this threat at the top. I got to work hard. You know, like, I got to work on my jumps. I got to work on my explosiveness, paying attention to the details. You know, back then they were still giving signs. The catcher, you know, how to pick signs, you know, look out the corner of your eyes.
Who taught you all that? Like, because I feel like there's a handful of guys like that, man, they knew it. Like, I've got to play with Rajay Davis, and he was a guy that was like, dude, every trick in the book or every little edge that he could get, he had it.
Yeah, I played with Raj in Detroit.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just pick up things along the way. There isn't one particular person that teaches you these things. You just hear something.
Yeah.
You know, you hear a guy say, oh, I could see into his mitt. He might not even be talking to you, but you hear it and you're like, oh, let me see if I can not get picked off and try to look into it. And you like do it for the first time and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. And you start to fine tune your game. Right. And then introduction to Elvis Andrus, who's very good at these types of things as well. The intangibles, the instincts. And so we were constantly working off each other. There was constantly talk.
I also think we kind of talked about, you know, the Upton brothers too. When you can out physicality the game, and then on the flip side, when you're not like this physical specimen, you learn how to win the margins at a young age. Like, you learn how to have these intangibles. You learn how to gain an edge. You learn how to, okay, I'm not the fastest guy, but I have good baseball instincts. Like, okay, can I peek? Okay, oh, curveball, I'm going.
Right.
Like, I learned that at like when we started playing kid pitch.
Exactly.
I could watch the way the catcher would set up. I knew he was going to throw a curveball in the dirt, and I would just steal.
Yep.
Like, it was just something because I didn't have like, I couldn't out physical the game.
But it's
I
almost
could
like, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like there's really no thought process. Like, you're not thinking it. You're just seeing it.
Yeah, maybe because I watched a ton of baseball on TV growing up. I played in the backyard. You just pick up on these
or it's
small
a feel.
things. Yeah,
it's a feel. You're like, oh, this guy's definitely going to the plate right here, just for whatever reason. Like you just have this feel of the game. You know, that in this situation, what he's done in the past, what I've done in the past. Last time I was on first, what pitch he threw last time, like he just bounced the curveball or whatever. You know, like. Pretty good chance. Like I got a feeling right here. I can get I can start leaning a little bit more. You just have this feel of the game around you and trying to navigate that right as quick as possible. Super fast.
There's only 2 guys off the top of my head that I can think of that were great base stealers purely off of speed. And that was Terrence Gore and Billy Hamilton. The rest of the like really good, like consistent base stealers are guys that like, man, they always seem to run on the right pitch. They always seem to get great jumps. They just kind of had a feel like you're talking about. Like they just, man, like it's never a fastball away when they're going, right? Like,
yeah. And I also, to be honest, I learned a lot from Carlos Lee. I don't know if you remember Carlos Lee, but he was a giant.
Yeah.
This guy's a 4-hole hitter, cleanup hitter, RBI machine, right? Like never runs, but he steals 20 bases a year. 23 bases. And I'm like, how does this guy stealing bases? So I really paid attention to how he played the game. And the things that he would do on the bases and when he would take his chances and the things that he was noticing. And that was when I was a young player, he was on the team. So I did learn a little bit from him. And that's the other part is that you don't always have to learn from the speed guy.
Yeah.
Like you can learn from Miguel Cabrera, who is a fantastic base runner, but he's not stealing bases. Yeah. He's not blazing but you watch his instincts and you watch the way that he picks apart defense or reads balls off the bat. Yeah. And you can
his turns around
his
the bases,
turns, like you can pick up things from guys that aren't necessarily speed guys.
I remember Todd Frazier being a great, like he would get 20 bags a year and every single one of them was just like a little walking lead. Yep. Like he'd kind of lull the pitcher to sleep and then gone.
I used to hate it too. Early in my career, when I hit towards the bottom of the order, I would hit behind a lot of these slow base runners and couldn't drive in runs, but they would always be like, because I'm slow. And it's like, no, it's because you don't care.
Right.
You're not trying to score. You're okay with being slow. And I played with a lot of guys that don't run well that are unbelievable base runners because one, they care, two, like they work on it, good instincts, good turns. Like Matt Olson doesn't run well, but the guy scores 120 runs a year. Well, he's always on base, but he also like wants to score. And he like knows how to take his lead. He'll pick his spots to steal a base.
I never understood why guys don't like running the bases. It's so fun.
It's so damn hard.
Like how many times do you actually get on there?
It's so hard to get to first.
Yeah.
I
love running the bases
running.
is like the best part of the game.
I loved stealing. And then the guys that I knew I couldn't steal, I looked forward to breaking up a double play.
Yes, or something.
Because it was so hard to get to first. I'm like, I want to like maximize my time here. Like I want to do something because it's so hard. But speaking of feels, All-Star game, first All-Star game, Yankee Stadium. I mean, what the hell is that like? And I mean, we talked about kind of this connection too to Dustin Pedroir. You're the reserve second baseman. Dustin Pedroir is starting. It feels like you're kind of, we'll get down the road a little bit more, but it feels like your career and his are kind of so intertwined and linked together.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Is that a cool like thing? You don't have like animosity towards him because of what happened. It's like you guys were teammates at ASU. Whatever happened. But then you guys both get to the big leagues playing second base. Probably someone where you talked about going to a high school where it was really competitive. Now you in the same, league as Dustin Pedroir. Like you guys just kind of elevated each other's games.
Yeah, he definitely elevated mine. And I think people, there's probably been articles written or stuff said about we don't like each other or whatever. It's complete eyewash. Like, dude, guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And my time at Arizona State, we spent a lot of time together. We lived in the same apartment complex and I learned so much from him in that time of my career. And then we just so happened to get to the big leagues around the same time. And whenever we were together, people wanted to write something about us, which there's nothing ever there. Like I love playing against the guy. I love playing with the guy. Actually played on the 2018 Red Sox team because he was injured.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic. Like, so supportive, always around, like pumping everybody up. Like he's a great person. So there's never been any kind of animosity or anything there on my side. Obviously from his side, he was always really good. So he probably never even thought about it. But being in that All-Star game in 2008 at Yankee Stadium was crazy. It was the last year of that stadium.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter was there as starting shortstop. Pedroia obviously was there. We brought a bunch of guys. Texas brought a bunch of guys. Hamilton goes off in the home run.
Can we talk about that? Like, what was that like? Because I remember that.
I remember it too.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching that, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Roy Hobbs.
Yeah.
Because that was like,
for sure.
You know, because that was kind of when he had his second chance in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, and you got this guy, like, he's literally hitting it to where, like, the subway was, like the subway tunnel.
Yeah, it looked
there.
like it because there was a white sign out in right field. So from the field level, it looked like he was hitting it out of the stadium, and the crowd was.
And it was
going,
probably believable because
the way the ball was. I mean, it was 100% believable. This guy is just smashing baseballs, but yeah, incredible experience. And then the game went, I don't know, 16 innings or something. Like it was forever.
That was the extra.
You know, and Mike Young gets.
Well, you ended up with 5 at bats, right?
I ended up with 5 at bats.
You came in as a reserve and had 5.
Yes, I think I went 1 for 5
1
or
for
something.
5.
And I got a hit off. I think my hit was off of Edison Volquez, who I came up with in the minor league system. We were teammates. So the whole thing, it was fantastic. And like I said, you know, my grandpa was from there. My dad.
The family had an opportunity to go. Grandparents there.
My grandpa was not there. My grandpa was gone, so he wasn't there. But like, the thought of him was constantly there for me. Like I stepped in the for the box the first time, and I was like talking to him. You know, I'm like, dude, like Grandpa, I'm in Yankee Stadium
crazy
right now.
baseball. We talk about it a lot too. Baseball just has a way of, I guess, being romantic. I guess the best way. Like
it really does.
When you think about your own career, when you think about, like I think about my own career, it's like certain things just happen. And you can't explain them. You know? And you kind of touched on it. We'll get to later, but this guy that people thought you were up against in Dustin Pedroir, you ultimately end up winning a World Series in Boston, playing his position. He's there. Like you're at the All-Star game together. Your All-Star games in New York where you grew up going to games. Like just can't make this stuff up.
Can't make it up. It's wild.
And then your manager in 18 was Alex Cora, former teammate of yours.
Former teammate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure that had to be.
And there's some more. There's some more kind of connections kind of later down the road. Buck Showalter kind of resurfaces and playoffs. It's just baseball has a way of doing it.
Yeah, it's coming full circle. So 2009, you had this crazy game in 2009 where you hit for the cycle off Baltimore and you went 6 for 6. So you've already gone. Was this your first 30-30 year?
2009? Yes.
2009, you go 30-30, right? So we talk about like you're watching Alfonso Soriano and you're like, dude, this guy's on another level. You do what he does, right? So you go 6 for 6, you hit for the cycle. You were 30-30 year. At the All-Star break, you have 20 bombs and 63 stakes. You don't make the All-Star team. Granted, you know, I'm sure, you know, the argument was, oh, you got Cano, Pedroia. You know, granted, that was like kind of the golden era of second baseman. Like those guys were freaks, man. Like, you know, but man, you got 20 bombs, 63 stakes at the All-Star break. You need to be in that game. But then you kind of get some redemption the next year. You make the All-Star team. Joe Madden was the manager of that 2009 All-Star team. You guys get Tampa in the first round of the playoffs.
100% I was thinking about it.
Okay.
Yes,
hold on.
I don't know what you're getting at, but yes, I was thinking about it.
Let's go.
Hold on. I want to point this out real quick. That year, 30-30, you were the only guy in the major leagues to go 30-30 that year. And if my research is correct, and you'd probably know this better than me, you don't get selected to the All-Star game, but there's a bunch of people that drop out of the All-Star game, and they keep picking other players.
100%.
And Joe Madden has a lot to do with it because he's the manager of the All-Star game.
He's picking
He ends up, I guess the final guy is Carlos Pena he takes, but there's Brandon Inge maybe gets in. There's a series of other guys.
Figgins.
Yeah.
Brandon Inge, Sean Figgins, Carlos Pena.
And are you like, what are you feeling at this point? Because I mean, obviously you have some job security, you're making money, but I mean, you got 20 bombs and 63 RBIs. Like, you were an All-Star the
previous year.
You know, once you become an All-Star, I'm sure it's a lot like getting to the big leagues. Once you get to the big leagues, you want to stay in the big leagues.
Absolutely.
Once you become an All-Star, you want to be a perennial All-Star.
Absolutely.
You're having the best year of your career at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
You don't get selected, fan vote, whatever. Then you still have opportunities, and they just keep not taking you.
Yes, that is correct.
Was there like this like company line of like why you didn't make the team?
No, I have no idea.
I have no idea. There wasn't anybody.
So you're
like
just
in
sitting
Texas.
back, waiting. Like, so eventually, someone's giving me my envelope. I'm going to the All-Star.
Yes, and like Brandon Inge was fine.
Yeah.
Because he didn't play my position.
Yeah.
But then Joe Madden, who's the manager of that team, selects Angel.
Yeah.
Is the organization that he came from.
Yeah.
So Joe Madden was a Los Angeles Angel before he became the manager of the Rays.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a relationship there with Sean Figgins. Then he selects Figgins. So I'm like, okay, he's just taking his boy. And then someone else and Sean Figgins plays my position. So I'm like, that's pointed.
Yeah.
Right. Like whatever. And then there's another one that drops out. I can't remember who drops out, but then he takes one of his own players and Carlos Pena.
He took Carlos Pena.
Which was fine. Like whatever. But the Sean Figgins thing to me was like, all right, that felt pointed.
Yeah.
And you had no relationship with him at this point.
No relationship. No. Nope.
Just couldn't make sense of it.
Yeah, to him it was probably not. He probably didn't even think about it. You know, I don't know. He's probably just like, yeah, I'm gonna take my dude from the Angels.
There's a lot of guys every year. I do feel like there's a lot of like your fringe guys, right? Like there's an argument to be made that this guy could be an all-star, but there's like one guy every year that is clearly an all-star that somehow, some way, like doesn't get in. And you were that guy that year.
That would be a great year for me, by the way.
I'm pretty sure Jason Kipnis' 2 all-stars that he had, like those were like his final season numbers.
I think the MLB is getting a lot better at it.
Yeah.
I think the rosters are getting a lot larger, the All-Star game rosters, and the amount of guys that are getting invited. There's always snubs, obviously. Every year there's going to be somebody that's borderline. There's just sometimes you're on that line, sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
And I do feel like now MLB might be going a little bit too far and having too many guys that make the team, because now you see guys that are making the team that are hitting, 230 with whatever at the break. And you're like, how's this guy?
I don't know. NBA All-Star game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't meant to be.
Well, you brought this up. I'm going to go back real quick because go back to your minor league season when you hit 400, right? Kind of that same idea. I know the game's more difficult now, and I'm not going to deny that. Like, hitting has never been more difficult. But did you feel like the standard for you in the minor leagues, like you had to hit 400 to get promoted, where you see a lot of guys, and obviously you're involved in an organization now, but like you see guys get like promoted from AA to AAA, and they're hitting like 260 with like a 330 on base percentage, where like I felt like the only way I was going to get promoted is like I was hitting 370, 380. Like, do you feel like it's changed a little bit?
Yeah, it's changed. I think.
And do you think it's bad because it's easier to get promoted now, and maybe guys don't have to go through as much in order to get to where they're going, where it felt like your only opportunity was pure domination? Like, I had to be the best player every day.
Yeah, you have to break the ceiling.
And maybe that's why we see more mediocre players in the big leagues, because it's a little bit easier to get there. They
get there faster, and they move a little bit more based on talent rather than results. Which it is what it is. The league's getting younger. The industry seems to be more okay with developing players at the big league level than at the minor league level. Which is fine. Like, there's way more information at the big league level. They have access to more coaches. They have access to the best coaches. They have access to more equipment and computers and resources and all the stuff at the big league level. But I do think there is a high percentage of players that are stepping on the field at the big leagues that aren't necessarily ready for that level. I can remember that we, in our minor league system, when Buck was the manager, as in tune he is to detail, that if you couldn't bunt or hit and run, you were not playing on his team as a young player, because as a young player, those were the things that were expected of you. And now I think there's just not as much accountability. It's just kind of like, let's just see how he does. Let's get him to the big leagues and let's just see how he does. And we'll try to develop him and help him, and hopefully he can make some adjustments. It's just a lot of hoping rather than knowing this guy's ready. And Is that always the case? No, but like, you know, you see a guy like Wyatt Langford, to me, extremely talented, gets drafted in the first round, 4th pick or 5th pick.
He's in the big leagues on the opening roster next year.
Boom, gone, like big leagues, right? And he was hitting 380. He went through all the levels and he was just crushing it. And he's still very successful at the big league level. But the question is like, could he be more successful faster?
Yeah.
Right. There's like but it's all splitting hairs. Like, do you want that talent on your team in the big leagues, or do you want to have him mature a little bit and take the chance of maybe he's not as hot or as in tune as he is right now? Cause you want him to come to the big leagues and have success immediately. So you want to call them up when they're hot and playing well, because you want them to have success, to feel good mojo. So it's like it's a thin line, and there's obviously a lot of debate that happens, and trying to get talent to the big leagues. What time do you want to get them to the big leagues? How much preparation do they need? Like, I think all those things are weighed.
And it's, like you said, it's like timing is such a big thing too for the organization, right? Like, you have all this talent that's like stockpiled in the minor leagues, but your big league team isn't ready. You know, like you're not ready to win yet. And you kind of got the guys that are moving up together because you're trying to like get those guys there at the same time, start their clocks at the same time. You know, hey, we can have this group of 6, 7 prospects all kind of, you know, they're going to be a 4-year window where they're all together, right?
Yeah. It's a puzzle. It's a difficult puzzle.
It is.
And guys are moving quicker now, no doubt. But I don't know if that's a flaw of the system. I'm not sure. You know,
I think guys, I would love to hear your take on it, but like me personally, like we get to work, you know, he does stuff on TSN with Toronto. I get to go do some broadcasting in Cleveland. So I get to be around the team some, and man, young players today, I don't think this equates to like production on the field, but like the raw material that's being put on the field, like the physical ability of these players is next level. Oh yeah. Like seeing a guy like Jack Caglione or Bobby Witt, or, you know, the guys in, you know, I mean, like Jose Ramirez has been there forever. He's still doing his thing, but you see these guys.
I mean, think about
you talk about. I just mentioned Wyatt Langford.
Like, dude, that guy.
This guy's.
You know, it's the easy comp for him. Everybody's like, "Oh man, it's Trout."
Baby Trout.
It's like,
yeah.
Wait a minute, time out.
I was
like
there with him.
No, it's real.
Yeah.
I know it's real, but it's like, you know, when people throw that out there, I'm sure a lot of people are like,
"I've never shook."
We're gonna throw that out there already,
like
but then you see him up close, you're like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah,
like,
it's unfair. It's always unfair to compare somebody to a great. It's just always unfair.
Yeah.
When I met him last year in spring training, when I was there, he was 21 years old, right out of college, like played last year.
Yeah.
I've never shook a hand like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm 36. When do I get that strength?
Right.
I'm still waiting on it.
You need to have another kid.
Yeah, I know. I just did. Still don't have it yet.
Yeah, but like the raw ability, like seeing the level of talent that is on the field today for most games, like it's next level. So it isn't a question of like, are these guys good enough? But to your point too, it's like, man, there's so many finer details of the game, and the game is so nuanced at that high level of like, if we just take a little bit of time, man, we can make like this guy with this level of ability could become so much better. But it's like, for the organization, it's like how much, like, what's the, you know, what are we weighing here? Like, he can be one WAR better.
Right.
But that means he's going to be gone from the team for another, you know, season while we need him up here. So it is.
But it's also a question of who's teaching him those things and how detailed oriented those coaches are, and the accountability that they're holding them at. Yeah. Because you get to the big league level and all of those things are happening at a higher rate, right? Yeah. Like, you just, there's more information. Your teammates are holding you to a higher standard because winning is way more important at the big league level. Yeah. Understanding your teammates and what path they're on and what's going on around you. Like, if you drop that ground ball at third base because you didn't work hard enough on your backhand and you're not prepared, now that guy gives up 5 runs and only goes 3 innings or 4 innings as a starter, or has to throw the extra 15 pitches. Like, in the big leagues, that's super, super important.
Somebody's getting sent out because
in the minor leagues, you just go take more ground balls the next day. But at the big leagues, your teammates are going to say, you weren't prepared for that play because I've seen your pregame work. I've seen what you've done leading up to that play. You're not prepared. So then it creates animosity. So then there's a lot of things that go on the big league level that don't necessarily go on at the minor league level, that are maybe not, thought about when you're calling up a young player, and they just kind of brush over it.
Yeah. Before we get back on track, one more question about that. You talked about that time when Buck Showalter told you you were going to have a tough month in AAA, and you did. How valuable was that for you to actually fail in the minor leagues and understand what failure looked like, and then have to kind of pick yourself up, lean on other people, look yourself in the mirror to kind of get back on track?
It was so important. It was so important. That was the first time I would lay in bed at night just staring at the ceiling. Like, what do I have to do tomorrow to get a hit, to get a couple hits? Like, what is my process tomorrow? You start tinkering, you start going through different countless, pregame routines and trying to figure out where I'm putting my hands and like doing all this stuff where the year before I wasn't doing that. I mean, I hit 405 in A ball, and then I went to AA, hit 300 and had a grand old time, went to the fall league. It was hitting great. This is the first time where I'm like, man, what? And if you look back at my numbers in AAA, they were great. They were fine. But that year was an absolute beating, like mentally, physically, constantly trying to just work the system, like figure out what my system was and how I was going to be successful, learning a new position, like all of this stuff intertwined was so valuable going in the big leagues, because there's no doubt you're going to fail at the big league level. Everyone does. No one's immune to it. So knowing that and having that experience definitely makes the process it doesn't feel as daunting because you've gone through it. You're able to reflect on it and say, you know what? I probably tinkered too much last year. There's probably too many adjustments. I should have been more stubborn in my approach or my pregame. And so you start dialing in those things. And as you know, when you're a 38-year-old veteran, you've gone through all of that. So like, it almost gets to a point where your pregame doesn't really even matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you just go through the routine to check your boxes, but once the game starts, this is where it really matters. And you start dialing in and playing the game. But you have to go through all those experiences to get to that point.
So 2010 All-Star, second All-Star game. Is Joe Madden the manager that year too? Because in 2000,
it was Leland. Wait, no.
Jim Leland?
No.
Leland was Yankee Stadium. 2009
would have been Torrey. I'm sorry, not Torrey.
Joe Torre.
No, it was
Girardi.
Wait, 10.
Because the Yankees won in 2009.
Girardi.
Yeah, it was Girardi in 10.
So you make All-Star game, but then I wanted to kind of go back full circle.
Yeah.
You're playing the Rays. You get snubbed from the All-Star game the year before. You get a chance to play against Joe Madden.
Skip
Rays,
right in his face.
And
100%.
First round of the playoffs, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, batted .444, 560 on base percentage, .944 slugging percentage. Scored a run and got a hit in all 5 games. And I believe you and Nelson Cruz were like the only pair of teammates in a long time that both hit 3 homers in that series. Kind of just you talked about it a little bit earlier, just kind of that redemption. You going into the series, obviously, we kind of started here. You knew what it meant to your organization to win a playoff series, to be committed to that team, you talked about that feeling of wanting to be part of that team that got him over the hump. But then you also have this extra motivation of the manager who you felt like snubbed you in the All-Star game.
100% extra motivation. Yeah.
Every
time I played against the guy, it was a thought.
Really?
For the rest of your career.
Rest of my career.
And that's just part of who you are. I mean, this chip on your shoulder, edge, gritty, grindy, like you. I always said it too. I always had this big chip on my shoulder. I think if I could go back in my career and do maybe one thing over, I think it took a long time, but I would say like 8th, 9th year in my career, I kind of lost that chip a little bit. Like, it was hard to maintain it my whole career. Like, it was who I was and it's where it got me to. But at some point I had to find other things to motivate me.
Right.
I think if I never lost that, I would have been probably maybe played a little bit longer, probably had a little bit more success later in my career.
Yeah, it's definitely true. It's a hard way to play, because
it takes a lot out of you.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
Like I used to play angry, that was my best. I performed my best when I played like angry. like like mad at the other team. Like, I'm not talking to those guys. Like, whatever, I don't like those guys. Or if we're playing against, Kipnis and Cleveland, obviously a very good second baseman, I'm like, this dude's not beating me this series. I'm going to outperform this guy this series. Like, that guy's no chance. Right. So whatever it was, you're finding something that you're mad at, or at least I was, or something that's motivating you. It could be, June 30th in Kansas City, and it's just, there's 15,000 people in the stands or 10,000 people in the stands, and there's nothing going on, but you're going to find a reason why, a reason why this game matters, a reason why you need to perform or prove it to somebody. I don't know what it could be, anything, right? It could be, this guy punched me out last time I faced him. Like, that ain't happening again today. It could be anything.
What was the thing you were telling yourself in the ALCS 2010? You're playing against the reigning champs and the Yankees. Cano's their second baseman at the time.
Yep.
Cano's their second baseman. I mean, they're the reigning champs. Like, it's the pinstripes. It's the new stadium. It's the first time the Rangers have ever played for the pennant. But you guys have a really good team, and you guys are rolling. Walk us through kind of like that series, and you're knocking on the doorstep to being one of the last teams standing.
Yeah, we were a very confident team, and we had 100% belief in ourselves. Like, you guys know what it's like playing on a winning team, and you're winning the game. You're going in, there's no other way that this game's gonna go down. We're winning, and that's how we approached everything. And then going into the Yankee series, the media was in our grill about the Yankees because the Rangers were never able to get over the hump and beat the Yankees in the 90s. That was the team that always knocked them out of the playoffs. And so the whole media stance was, can the Rangers get past the Yankees? They've never been able to beat the Yankees. The Yankees this, the Yankees that. Everything was about them. And we were offended by that. We're like, we're the better team. Like, it's not about them, it's about us, kind of thing. And it's just how sports are played at any level. The reason why you play the game is not because someone's supposed to win. It's to find out who really is going to win. Like, the game will tell. It's not who the best team is, it's who plays the best that day, right? And we always, Wash used to literally use that quote through the whole season. Whenever we were in a tough stretch, it's not who the best team is, it's who plays the best on that given day. That was one of Wash's all-time quotes. And that's how we approach the games, and that Yankee series was no different. We knew we were going up against the reigning champs. This was our opportunity, but we also knew if you wanted to be the best, you had to beat the best. So you don't want to go through the weaker team. Like, you want to play the Yankees. That's when you get to that level, like, and you're trying to prove yourself as a team, though, that's who you want to play. It was the same in Boston in 18. It was the Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, we wouldn't want it any other way. That at the end of it, we are the best team. There's no debating that, the Dodgers played a bad series against the Diamondbacks or whatever, and like the Diamondbacks got through somehow, or whoever, right? It was the best teams, and we went through that gauntlet, and it was the same for that team in Texas. Is that's who we wanted. That's who we wanted to play.
Was there a moment that stuck out for you guys in that series? Like, because I feel like especially these big playoff series, like these long series, it can just kind of go back and forth for a while. But like, I always feel like there's a moment when you're like, we're going to win. Like, like this moment right here, it was like the deciding factor, and like, we're going to win this series. Was there a moment like that for you in the Yankees?
It was the blowout game in Yankee Stadium. We hammered them.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know what the final
game
was.
2?
Maybe game 2 or 3 or whatever. I can't remember what game it was, but we must have beat them 10-2 or kind of blew them out of the water. And, Yankee Stadium is known for this hostile environment. The fans are throwing stuff at our family section, and they're all up in it. It's a whole game. They're on you.
Yeah.
It's a wild environment. And we made them leave in like the 7th inning. People started packing up their stuff and walking out of Yankee Stadium, and we're standing on defense, and these people are leaving And our family section is like, let's go Rangers. In Yankee Stadium, you can hear it clear as day. It's like, we got these guys. Like, this is, yeah, we're better than these guys. So that was a huge moment. And then I also remember one pointed moment when Robinson Cano, this was the game before we clinched, game 6, or the game that we did clinch. He hit a ground ball and we turned 2 on it or something. And the game was still somewhat close. And we were able to turn a double play. And I can remember him running across the field, looking very defeated. And when he got to, it was still the 7th inning or 8th inning or something.
Yeah.
The game was not over. And he ripped his batting gloves off and threw them into the stands. And I was like, it's over.
They just
It's over. That dude just gave up. Like, he just threw his batting gloves into the stands. He's not hitting again. In his mind, he's not hitting again. Like, this game's over. And those 2 moments, it was, and then obviously Felice striking out A-Rod to send that place crazy.
What you just said right there should be a prime example or lesson in like how much body language matters.
Oh yeah.
Because not only you saw that, like there's maybe some young kid with the Yankees that were like, oh man, I guess we're going to lose, or, you know, it's infectious, right? Especially when, like, dude, he was like a guy on that team. Like, and so when you just kind of, you know, do that, even for a split second, you let that like doubt creep in, man, it can be so detrimental to everyone around you.
Yeah, and those are the things that we're taught. You know, you watch the game now and you see a lot of highs and a lot of lows. You see a lot of big celebrations and you see a lot of guys hanging their head and showing a lot of emotion either way, high or low. And I can remember being taught that you want to play the game
in the middle,
right? Like, you can go up a little bit and get excited and have some fun and show some enthusiasm, and you can be pissed off and you can slam your helmet once or whatever and put it away. But you try to stay in the middle because baseball is very humbling. It all happens very quickly. And you can go through stretches where it's very difficult. And so you have to be able to stay in the middle so that you can eliminate those stretches of bad play and you can prolong those stretches of good play. That's the goal. The goal of a player is to be as consistent as possible. That's what makes you a big leaguer, is being consistent over an extended period of time. So if you're constantly riding this roller coaster of every time I hit a double, I'm pulling confetti out of my back pocket and I'm throwing it in the air, like, you're going through this big high. It's very similar to a relief pitcher that rarely throws 2 innings.
Yeah.
And he comes in a tight situation and he works his way out of the tight situation for the team. And he walks off the mound with the lead and he's jacked up and he's screaming and he's yelling. Like, he just gave off all of this emotion and mental, whatever, like all of these endorphins. And then the team's expecting for him to go back onto the mound and pitch the next inning. It rarely works out well. It just doesn't work out because he didn't stay in the moment, right? Like, you got to stay level as best as you can. Like, I'm guilty of skipping the first and doing all this stuff as well. Like, we're all guilty of it because it's you got to play with fire and emotion, and all of those things need to happen. But the goal is to stay as centered as possible, so that you can prolong your consistencies.
Well, this is a perfect segue too for getting to the World Series for the first time. You talk about kind of this roller coaster of emotions. Take us through kind of that roller coaster of getting to the World Series, probably the highest of highs you can achieve in your career. It's what we all work for as players. And then obviously the lowest of lows is not being the last team standing, losing in the World Series.
Yeah, that's crazy when you say it that way so quickly, right? Like,
and I'm sure there's a ton of that throughout the series too.
Oh, no doubt.
You talk about just kind of bookending, like, you win this emotional series against the Yankees. You talked about, signing this early deal, wanting to be part of the fabric and the identity of the Texas Rangers, win the first playoff series. Then you face the champs, you beat them. Then you're in the World Series. And it's like, man, we got a chance to like cement ourselves in the history of this organization. Everything that I've dreamed about since I was a little kid playing in the World Series. And then every game is its own individual roller coaster. And then ultimately, you have the end of the World Series. And when you don't lose, I can't imagine there. And man, I know you can imagine what it feels like because you've been there too.
It sucks. It's not fun.
It's not fun.
But I mean, yeah, it's You just play. And at the end of it is a weird feeling because at the end of it, it's over. Like, and then you're like, but I will say, like, my experience in the World Series, after it was over, we lose 10th inning, game 7, this crazy game. But I remember, like, almost immediately after the game, like, looking around the clubhouse and, like, being extremely proud, like very upset that we lost. But like, there was zero, like, I think when you go through that with a group and as a team, like, this sense of I is gone. Like, it's so far removed from anything. And you're looking around and you're like, man, I'm so freaking proud of that guy, dude. I'm so freaking proud of that guy. Like, and then you're just like, man, can we go to Arizona tomorrow and start over? Because it is like, there's no better feeling than just being, they like in battle, they talk about like the difference between, friend and comrade, and like at that point, like, like, hey, these are my comrades now. Like, they're no longer like, these aren't just my teammates. Like, when you go through all that together, it's a lot.
And it speaks to seeing one of those guys down the road and you haven't spoken to him in 10 years, but you see him and it's like, brothers. It's like, hey man, what's up? And it's just back to, you just feel so at home with those people for some reason, because it's the amount of time spent together, the amount of energy, the failing, the successes, all the things that roll into a baseball season. Like you said, comrade's a good word, but for me, 2010 was a wild one, obviously getting there for the first time, but then we were favored to win against the Giants, which I think was, maybe our downfall a little bit, because we were a very confident team and now we're favored. And we were just so much more confident going into that series. And the Giants had a bunch of guys that were older, had been around, nothing exciting, really. You had the young guys in Posey, and you had Bumgarner, Jonathan Sanchez. Like, you had some young players on the team, but it was mostly like Lyle Overbay, Edgar Renteria, Freddie Sanchez.
They just pitched.
Yeah, they could pitch.
What was it?
Kane was young at the time.
Lincecum was
their guy.
Was the dog.
But we're looking at this like, okay, they got Lincecum, but then they got a bunch of young dudes.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we got Vladdy in the middle of our lineup, like, I don't know. I think we probably got a little bit too big for it. We had Cliff Lee starting game 1, we were feeling good. We were feeling really good. And it was a tough loss, but the next one, the 2011 one was way worse because we had experienced it.
Yeah.
And now we're back for a second year in a row.
Yeah.
And so we know not to get ahead of ourselves. We know how difficult this thing is to win. And we know that the other team is bringing everything they got. Like, this isn't going to be, you just show up and win the World Series. Like, you're going to have to take it. And then lose the way we did it was tough.
And getting there back-to-back years, obviously incredible accomplishment. I never got a chance to play in the World Series, but you talked about the first year maybe being a little overconfident, running into a Giants team, which ended up, being a dynasty, right? The every other year sort of thing. A lot of these young players ended up being iconic franchise Hall of Fame type of players. I just want to point out too, the following year, 2011, you go 30-30 again, 32 homers, 30 stolen bases, 28 consecutive stolen bases in a row without getting caught. But take us through that World Series to the getting back, getting a chance to run it back, which it's got to be an incredible feeling. Losing the World Series, not knowing if you're ever going to get back. You think you are, and then you could talk about maybe after that, you go an extended period of time without getting the postseason. And for me, my first 2 years, I got to the postseason and I thought, this is the norm. This is what we're going to do. And then it was like 7 years went before I got back to the postseason. And you gain this appreciation for how difficult it is. The fact that you got a chance to run it back the next year. Okay, everything that we did wrong, let's learn from it. Let's not be overconfident. One pitch at a time. Let's play it the same way. To lose in that fashion, how difficult was that?
It was the hardest thing ever.
And do you ever get over it?
No, you don't. You don't ever get over it. I actually just got a text from Michael Young 3 days ago, just out of nowhere.
Just pissed off still.
Yeah. Just still pissed. He's like, I'm watching the TV and they're celebrating the 2016 Cleveland Guardians World Series team. He's like, he's like, we got screwed. I'm like, it's like,
I actually just was up there and we were all kind of sitting around talking, and the guys and the whole, like, we were supposed to be there, like, kind of celebrating, like, winning the pennant, right? Because we lost World Series, and we're like, bro, we lost. Like, what are we doing here? We lost, and it's just,
but for the fan base, for us as athletes, we always, we're ultra competitive people. So we want to be the last one standing. We want to be the one who's holding the trophy. But for the fan base, especially here or Cleveland, the way that they grab onto those teams and the amount of conversations that I've had saying that was the greatest time of my life watching baseball, going to the old ballpark and those teams were just so much fun to be around. I'm sure you hear it a lot in Cleveland and with those teams, like, even though the grand prize wasn't won, the impact and the memories that were made with families is everlasting. And so, not being the winner hurts and always will sting. But being a part of it and just enjoying that journey and being part of you're part of one of the greatest World Series ever played.
Yeah.
And same with you. Same with me.
2011 team.
11, the Cardinals in that whole World Series, but same with the 16 one. It's, just to be a part of it. And this is my, 43-year-old dad of two speaking. You feel good about it and you're happy with it. But when you look back and you're 28 or 29 and you're in the middle of this World Series run, it still burns significantly.
I think that's why we love this show too, because you do get a chance to kind of reflect on your career. And obviously when you're in it, winning, success, all that is the only thing that matters. But when you get removed from it, I mean, the same reason I get a chance to go back to Toronto and do what I do is because we didn't win a World Series. We didn't even get to the World Series, but people remember where they're at for certain moments, where they remember their families coming together. They remember the impact that you made in, like, a country like Canada where baseball wasn't super popular. We made it cool. We made it fun. And this next generation of players started playing baseball. Probably very similar in your experience in Texas, yours in Cleveland, where it's easier now when you're removed from it and you're older, you're wiser, you got kids. Like, you can, be happy about the things you accomplish, even though you didn't accomplish the ultimate goal.
Yeah, so absolutely. But, during COVID there, on MLB Network, they would play old World Series. It was like their thing to go to. And they put on the 2011 World Series Game 6. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna sit here and watch this. I'm going to see how much of this I remember. I made it to about the 6th inning. And I was like, I'm just like throwing stuff at the TV. My wife's like, what are you doing to yourself? She's like, there's no way you make it through. I'm like, I'm good now. It's no big deal. I got to like the 6th inning. I was lit.
But you start to see things and remember things, and like, there's so many like little things that, like, maybe to a fan or or just a baseball watcher is like, it's not a big deal, but it's like the one thing I think about from 2016 is that like 17-minute rain delay, and everybody talks about that. I'm like, no, like, they had a rain delay too. Yeah, it killed momentum and all this stuff, but like, I literally lose sleep at night sometimes still about this. Like, I walked David Ross to lead off the 9th after Rajay hit the homer. And if I would have been able to get Rossi, and then the next guy was Hayward, he hit a ground ball to second. We didn't get the double play. So there's a guy at first, 1 out. They bring Shaw in. If I wouldn't have walked Rossi, been 2 outs, nobody on, I finished the inning. Rain delay, Shaw comes in clean. Dude, dude, there's 10 years ago, and I still think about that all the time. And I'm sure, like, so many guys, I'm sure you probably think about like an at bat or like, something where you're like, man, if I would have just, not swung at this pitch or whatever it was, and that too. But I will say there was a moment that I remember in that 2011 series against St. Louis. And I think, like, this is a moment where it's like, we talked about earlier, like, this is where it's like, all right, they're going to win. They're 100% going to win. When you stole off Yachty in the 9th and y'all came back, because y'all were down 1-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was what, game 3?
Game 2. We were down 1-0 as game 2 in St. Louis.
And so
no one steals on this guy.
And no one steals on Yachty. And
no one really even tries.
No, but it was Mota?
Jason Mott.
Mott. And he was, I mean, I knew he was very slow to the plate.
Yeah.
And confidence has been instilled in me by Wash for a number of years up to this point. Like, we're going to play this game aggressively.
Yep.
We are not holding anything back. Like, press, take the extra base, do it, and that played into my game. And like, there was an opportunity right in front of my face. Like, I could not just let that go by.
I mean, because a lot of
I almost got thrown out. It was close.
But a lot of managers are like front office, like analytics and all that stuff. It's like, hey, your leadoff guy's on, right? Because there's nobody out.
Yes.
There's nobody out. You've got Elvis behind you. You've got Hambone behind him. You've probably got,
Mike Young.
And so it's like, dude, the boys are coming, right?
Beltray,
red light. You're not going, right? Not going. And for you guys, he was like, no. Let's keep the pressure on. Let's keep them on their heels. And, I remember watching that 2011 team, and the one team that reminded me of you guys was the 2015 Kansas City Royals team. Yeah. And like, you played against them a lot. I got to play against them a lot, where it was like, there was never a moment, like, you could be up 4-0. You could be up 5-1. You're like, dude, they're coming. They're coming. Like, they just kept the pressure on. They ran. Yep. They always took the extra base. They would score 6 runs in 8 pitches. It was just like constant. But when you stole second off Yachty and you guys came back and won that game, I was like, this series is over.
Yeah.
Which obviously, it played out differently, but that was a huge moment for you in your career. And I think a lot of people looking at your career from a 30,000 foot view, like individual moments, that's one that I was like, that was like a defining moment for like the type of player you were.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Me and Yachty had our battles. I mean, he got me a number of times. So you don't walk away without some scars playing against Yachty. So, that was a big one. And, that game, after that moment, it all kind of fell into place, right? Like, Elvis moved me over, got on base. I think got a base hit, moved me to third.
Yep.
Then Josh hit a sac fly.
Yep.
Moved, and Elvis moved.
Yep.
Like, he didn't stand still either. So we were constantly moving, trying to take the extra base and being super aggressive, ultra aggressive. And that's a fun way to play the game,
Yeah.
That's a good.
Because you guys did, man. It was just constant. It's like, dude, like, you just can't put them away. They're always coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was our goal. That's how Wash preached that. He was the perfect manager for that club. He allowed us to play free. He never would pull the reins back. I mean, even if we made a mistake, I got picked off plenty of times at first. I mean, it happened. I got made mistakes. I tried to push a little bit too hard, or Elvis is trying to push a little bit too hard. But the amount of times that we affected the game over the course of the season was, way, way more than the amount of times that we affected the game negatively. And Wash knew that. And if we made a mistake, he'd tap us on the butt and say, do it again next time.
Yeah.
That was always his thing. And that just put the ultimate confidence in us. And we were able to run wild like that.
That's awesome.
So you guys lose in heartbreak fashion. We're on this theme of roller coasters, the lowest of lows, losing the World Series. But 2012, you become the highest paid second baseman in the game. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what did you signed for 5 years, $75 million, highest paid second baseman in the game. What do you do when you sign that contract?
What do you go buy?
Do you go buy something? You treat yourself? Like what?
Not really. I mean, you just go to the ballpark the next day and go take BP and get a bunch of dudes slapping you in the back of the head. Like nothing really changes. I bought a car. Like that was my one purchase. I bought like a little race car, like a BMW M5, blacked it out, put some race stripes on it, like the whole thing. Thought I was cool.
And you go out, reward them, all-star that year, just for the sake of time, fast forward. And then 2013, you become the Rangers all-time stolen base leader. And then 2014, your kind of whole world kind of gets flipped upside down a little bit. Kind of, you become this iconic player in Rangers history, the all-time stolen base leader. I believe you're the all-time leader in leadoff home runs for the franchise. It's a player that took the Rangers from kind of the dark ages of not winning postseason games to winning postseason games to back-to-back World Series. You sign this long-term deal, highest paid second baseman in the game. You get traded 2 years into that 5-year deal for Prince Fielder to Detroit. What's that day like? What's that phone call like? unexpected.
That was an off-season trade too, right? It wasn't
Off-season trade.
Yeah, it was off-season. So like, it wasn't a deadline thing where it's like, hey, you're not playing
team's
well.
not playing well. We're gonna
No.
try. It was off season, so you're just chilling at home, preparing for.
I was in
another
Hawaii.
season in Hawaii.
I was chilling in Hawaii on vacation, and Beltray was actually on the vacation with us.
Okay.
Wife, kids.
Wife was there, no kids.
No kids, just wife trip.
I got a call at super early in the morning because we were in Hawaii. I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I mean, when you go to Hawaii in the off season, you wake up at like 4 or like 5.
Yeah.
And so I had already been out, like got coffee, went to the beach, whatever, came back. I was like taking a nap. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I got a call from a local media member. And I looked at my phone. I'm like, why is this guy calling me? Just put it down. I'm like, whatever. And then I don't know, the call ends, he calls me back right away. I'm like, dude, what is going on? So I pick up the phone. He's like, have you been traded? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, you just got traded to Detroit, I think. And I'm like, what? I've heard nothing of this. What are you talking about? Where are you getting your information? So he's just telling me where he's getting his information. Next call.
And this is still all kind of pre-social media.
Yeah.
It's social media starting. So it's not like.
It's not as dialed in.
Yeah. The rumor could leak and everyone knows.
There's still media, but it's not as, or social media, but it's not as like, Twitter's not as
on time,
instant. Yeah. And all the things, MLB trade rumors or whatever, it's not as quick. Then the next phone call was Adrian Beltre, who's on vacation with me. I'm like, why is this dude calling me? Like, we had plans for the day already set. Like, why, there's no reason. I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, dude, I think you just got traded to Detroit for Prince Fielder. I'm like, how do you know? And like, I don't know what in the world, but his agent was Boris. Prince's agent was Boris. So he'd already communicated that with Adrian. Then I get a call from my agent. Then I get a call from Dave Dombrowski, who is the general manager for the general manager for the Tigers. Then I get a call from the assistant general manager for the Rangers. So I've yet to hear from John Daniels and the Rangers. And that kind of started the whole feud. But in hindsight, it really, lit a fire in my career. Like, it allowed me to continue to be motivated, continue to play, like going into a new environment. They'd just won 3 AL Central divisions in a row. You look at their pitching staff. No one liked playing in Detroit. I hated playing there. I was pissed because I hated playing there.
But you probably hate playing there because you hated playing against them.
I hated playing against Verlander, Scherzer, Sanchez, Porcello, Fister,
Smiley,
like all these dudes, right? So, and it was always cold, and I was just always pissed, But when I got there, it changes your whole perspective. It's a huge ballpark. There's hits everywhere. The ball flew pretty well to left. It was a great ballpark for me. I had unbelievable protection.
Yeah,
like that's the other thing is like the teams that I played with in Texas. My whole career I was protected. Like the middle of our orders were ridiculous. And then I go to Detroit and I got Torrey Hunter right behind me. I got Miggy and Victor Martinez sitting right behind me. I'm like, dude, I'm incredibly protected. Like this is so fun, right? So you look back on your career and all of these moments, and you also look at like the luck that's involved. Like I wasn't stuck in some place where I was kind of finning for myself and trying to produce at the big league level. I was constantly, I had Hall of Fame dudes behind me for a lot of my career, which, it's unbelievable.
Dude, that 2014 team, so that was Brad Osmus's first year managing in Detroit. Takes over for Jim Leland, who don't know the guy, but by all accounts I've heard is just a player's manager. Like just kind of like Buck, where it's like guy just loves ball players, just grows ball players. And those guys loved him, and I know he was stepping away and Brad's coming in. But you guys, like you said, like you got Torrey Hunter behind you. JD Martinez is on his way up, and he's not quite JD yet, but he's about to be. Austin Jackson's on that team. You guys trade for David Price. So, I mean, the team that y'all had, and we were in the same division, and I remember being in Cleveland, and our pitchers meetings used to everybody always talk about like how you get Miggy out. And it's like, no, you don't focus on Miggy's gonna get his, right? He's gonna get his.
Yeah, he is.
But if you don't take care of Kinsler and if you don't take care of Torrey, they're gonna put up a 10 spot.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of those guys at the top, if you don't take care of like Jose Iglesias at the bottom, which by the way, that guy didn't get enough credit for. He was a hard out.
He's
Especially
super scrappy.
As like I was a guy who I was trying to put guys away.
Yeah, he didn't punch out.
He just forced you to make another pitch, make another pitch, and then you'd find yourself like 3-2, and you're like, all right, well now I got to come to him because he's about to turn the lineup over,
right?
And he's ripping a ball into right center. So that 2014 Tigers teams you guys had was, talent wise. I know you guys, you didn't quite.
You ran into Buck Showalter.
Yeah, you ran into Buzzsaw.
We got swept by Baltimore.
But I mean, that team was a short series. Their deep bullpen, like they were nasty. But that 2014 team, from a roster standpoint and from a 160 game standpoint, that was one of the better teams I ever played.
You think it was the best team you played on? I know you guys lost in the first round of the playoffs, but in terms of talent, pitching staff, bullpen,
man, that team was so good.
Our bullpen had some. We struggled.
Yeah.
That was our flaw. And when you get to the postseason, that's what happens. You have to be a complete team.
Yeah. In
order to make a deep postseason run, you've got to be a complete team. You've got to do everything well. And our bullpen was our weak spot, and it got exposed quickly, But that team, talent wise, listen, Dave Dombrowski can put together a roster.
Yeah.
Like everywhere that guy goes, he gets the players that he wants.
Yeah.
He's very good at it. In Detroit, he won in Miami, went to Detroit, put together competitive teams for years. Goes to Boston, wins the World Series, goes to Philly super competitive. Yep. Like this guy's one of the all-time great executives, in my opinion.
And a team of like not only talented guys, but like ball players, right? Like you got Alex Avila behind the plate. Miggy was at first, you were at second, Jose's at short. Was Castellanos playing third? Castellanos is playing third. He was a draft guy. But then you got J Up. Was Upton?
J Up wasn't there yet.
He wasn't there
14. Yet? It was
Bagley?
We had Austin Jackson in center. We had Torrey Hunter in right. And
it was like Andy Dirks, maybe.
Dirks was on that team.
Don Kelly
was on that team. Who's our left fielder?
Right. No, Rayburn was in
Victor
Cleveland.
Martinez was DHing.
God, he was so good that year too.
So good.
That was the year of when Sale plunked him and you were doing the the binocular.
Yeah.
He was so good that they thought he had somebody in center field with binoculars, like doing signs.
I gotta ask you this though. So you guys lose that postseason, but I'm looking at you, kind of your body of work here. 2015 Fielding Bible World, 2016 Gold Glove, 2018 Gold Glove. Did you become a better defender, or did you just start getting recognized for your defense a little bit more going to Detroit?
I just became more consistent. Like we talk about consistency.
Because there's a lot of stuff that said like led baseball in UZR and defensive runs saved, and like the gap between you and the next at DJ LeMahieu was like 20 or 30 defensive runs. Like, is that an area of your game you felt like you improved on? You got more consistent going to Detroit, maybe more range, more area to cover. Like, because it's incredible. Because early in your career, you're doing incredible things. 30-30, offensive, one of the best leadoff hitters in the game. But then all of a sudden you become like this defensive kind of guy that is winning all these awards.
Yeah, I think everything that you said is true. And building that defensive side of my game. And also when I went to Detroit, there was a guy named Matt Martin, who was one of the assistants on the staff. And he helped me so much, just as far as my focus and converting those plays into outs. I think as a younger player, I had good range and I was able to get the balls, but I wasn't able to convert them to outs. Or I would make poor decisions on double plays where ball necessarily, you're not going to turn a double play, but I would fire it over there anyway and throw it in the dugout because I'm trying to rush it and beat a guy. So my clock got a lot better. My range got a lot better because I was able to convert those balls in my glove to outs, where before I would get to those balls, but I would bounce it and it'd hit the first baseman glove, go up in the air, or I'll throw it away and become an error, which would actually then dock me, defensive points or whatever. So I just became a lot more focused, a lot more locked in. And Matt Martin was instrumental in that. He created this whole system called 40 Club. It's like a bunch of these little foam balls. They're different colors. And he would get on one knee about, I don't know, 3 yards in front of me or 4 yards in front of me, and I'd get down in fielding position and he would just fire them at me, and I would have to call the colors and catch them one by one, catch them and try to stay extremely calm under the circumstances that he'd bounce them off the walls, he'd bounce them off the ground. So I learned how to really stay focused and calm and like high, I guess not pressure, but like stress or movements, or, how to stay focused in those types of situations, and kind of, catapulted me to that next level defensively. But also, having Miggy next to me, this guy is super calm, right? He sees everything on the field. Never panics. Like a ball hit extremely hard at him, top spin, eats him up a little bit, like zero panic in Miggy. He's just going to go over there, grab it, flip it to first. Like there's zero panic. So having a guy like that next to you, and then obviously Iggy, Jose Iglesias playing short, tremendous defender. And we worked every day together on double plays. I mean, it was constant. Every day we were out there working on double plays. We had a whole routine on how we did it. It was this many to your left, this many to your right, this many right at you, this many slow rollers. And then we would switch, and I'd do it every day. And so having people around you that are obviously at a different standard take you to the next level as well. So it was a accumulation of all those things.
Tell us about your experience in the WBC, winning a gold medal with Team USA. What's that experience like? Jim Leland's the manager.
Yeah.
What's that like when he calls, reaches out, says, "Hey, you want to represent your country playing the WBC?"
That was just like the ultimate honor, man. That was huge. And being asked by Jim Leland, who you just talked about, one of the all-time great managers and players managers, and somebody that just has the most respect for in the game, being asked by him to be on that roster and be the second baseman on that roster was just incredibly humbling, man. Like, put that USA jersey on, it means a lot. And that group of guys that we came together so quickly. Arenado goes diving into first base that first game against Colombia and basically tackles first base for us to tie the game in the 9th. And from that point on, I was like, all right, game on, man. We're all out here. We're going balls to the wall. Not that we weren't before, but that signaled the charge with the guys.
Do you think they need to expand the WBC? Like, 'cause like this year's WBC was awesome to watch.
It's riveting, man. It draws viewership. People love it. International baseball is so much different than what they see normally in the States. A 7-game series is just different, right? Like that one game winner take all environment where you're playing for your country, you just can't replicate it. And I don't know what the right answer is. I definitely think that it needs to continue to exist.
Yeah.
And continue to be part of what the MLB does, but I just don't know what the answer is. Everybody wants to talk about injuries, and I understand that, especially from the organization's perspective, when you're paying a player a lot of money to produce for your team. But injuries are part of sports, and this is such a good thing for the sport of baseball. It draws so much attention. It grows the game internationally. You see Great Britain playing, you see Italy playing, making a deep run.
Man, they almost won it.
Right.
They had a chance.
And just listen, we know a lot of these guys grew up in the United States, but when it says the country's name across the chest, it just draws more attention to the sport, and it allows the sport to grow, globally.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the right answer is, but I love the tournament. It's unbelievable. And winning that tournament was.
I've heard rumor that they're looking at potentially expanding the All-Star break time frame to try and get more involvement. But
listen, it's still going to be a conversation of, you get to the All-Star break, your team's in first place, and you're putting Jacob deGrom out there to pitch for the United States.
Or your team's in last place, or you're putting Jacob deGrom out there to pitch.
Right. And you're getting ready to trade him.
Yeah.
So like, there's always circumstances. There's never a perfect time to do it. But I'll tell you that it's incredibly fun to play in. It's like nothing you ever experienced. And the fan bases, the countries, the excitement, the different views on the game and what's happening on the field is just you can't beat it.
I mean, what a crazy 2 years though. You go 2017, you win a gold medal for Team USA. 2018, you're traded from the Tigers to the Angels. You hit your 48th career leadoff home run, puts you 4th place all time behind Ricky Henderson, Alfonso Soriano, and Craig Biggio, which, I mean, those are all Hall of Fame types of players.
There's two second basemen there that you're probably like.
Yeah, Biggio for sure.
Yeah, was he a guy?
He was more my style, right? Like Soriano was a different kind
freak.
of
And Biggio was just like a gamer, grinder,
catcher, you know,
converted. Yeah. And
but
then
I think Altuve and Springer have passed me since.
I was gonna say
Like
probably
Springer,
I was gonna say definitely Springer, Altuve probably more than likely because he's leading
think
off now
so.
with Springer gone. I mean, still, to be, let's call you 7th all time in leadoff homers. That's got to be something you're extremely proud of. And then you kind of just think about this full circle moment where you didn't even know you were capable of doing it, but you were the heir apparent of the second baseman who's 2nd all time in leadoff homers. You know, one of 4 guys to be 40-40. You're a guy, and I think according to my thing, I think you're one of 6 guys to have multiple 30-30 seasons. Like we talk about kind of baseball is kind of this, you know, there's romance in baseball. Like, it's crazy how things like that work out.
It is crazy. It's crazy to think back, you know.
You go to Angels, you go there, and then you get traded to the Red Sox. And we talk about another full circle moment. You get traded because Pedroir gets hurt. They're a team that's, you know, trying to go out and win a World Series. You kind of step into that role of playing second base. He's there. You talked about him being extremely important. We talked about all the kind of failures in terms of not getting over the hump and winning the World Series, getting there. You get a chance towards the end of your career to, you know, you talked about going through the best too, having to beat the Yankees, then beating the Astros, and then facing the Dodgers in the World Series, ultimately winning the World Series. What is that kind of feeling like? And at this point, do you kind of know you're on the back 9 of your career? Do you still think you have multiple years left? Or are you even more proud to know, like, man, I got this World Series? You know, if I choose to ride off in the sunset, I'm at peace with where my career is at. Or did you think you had a couple more years left?
I thought I had some more time left, you know. Definitely knew I was at the end of it, but wanted to continue to play and felt like I had years left. Winning in 18 was tremendous, and doing it with guys that I lost with in Texas, and then guys that I lost with in Detroit. You know, David Price was on that team, Parcello, Mitch Moreland was on that team. So there were guys that I'd experienced, you know, playoff loss, you know, with, and, you know, Mitch Moreland was right next to me when Chris Sale struck out Manny Machado to end it. Mitch Moreland came up to me and kind of like, it was game 6, by the way. So like we'd experienced game 6 before and he like hit me on the shoulder and he's like, dude, what do you think? And I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it. Just watch, man. Just stay in the moment. Don't say anything, you know, and then bam, strike out. And we jumped out there and, you know, winning the World Series is obviously a pinnacle of the sport and something I'm so proud to be a part of. It's a little bit different when you get traded to a team and you're not in that grind for a full year. But when I got traded, my whole thought process was just like not to ruin that mojo they had, right? Like I just want to seamlessly fit in here. I don't want to mess up anybody's cage time. I don't want to, you know, mess up anybody's BP routine, where they're sitting on the bus, like, you know, all those things you try to navigate that quickly.
Mission.
That team was
on a mission. Like you talk about, like, so like, that was Alex Cora's team. And
it was the young outfielders.
It was Mookie, Benintendi, Bradley,
Killer Bees.
Devers was there, Bogarts, and then Mitch was at
Moreland
first,
and Steve Pierce.
Yeah. Steve Pierce on the team.
Steve Pierce won the MVP.
That's right, dude. That guy freaking
Sandy Leon and Christian Vasquez behind the plate.
Yep. And then, you know, you had, you know, you like you talk about and then you had Kimbrel in that bullpen too. Like, but dude, I remember playing that team early in the year and you could just tell like they were just on a mission. Like they were just, there was no one was standing in their way. And then Sale too, like I feel like Sale getting the last out because, you know, I know Chris a little bit, like we grew up close to each other, but like the one thing about him is he's probably the most competitive guy on the mound that I've ever seen. Like his mound presence, like dude, you could put King Kong in the batter's box and he is like, I'm punching you out. Like, if he's healthy and he's feeling good, you don't stand a chance. And like, he was like the perfect epitome of what that team was about, right? Like the mentality of just like, I don't care. Just put him in the box, put him on the field. We're going to go beat him. And so for him to be the last guy to get Machado, you know, I remember watching that, and that team, there was nobody standing in the way of that team.
Yeah. Crisell was the train conductor. Dude, he was just punching tickets.
He was unbelievul, man.
Just
he was so good.
I
mean, look at him
Still
now.
Is.
Dude, look at him now. Like, and you know, I was talking to Kluber about him when I was just up in Cleveland. I was like, what did he do? Like, what did, you know, because there were a couple years there where it looked like, man, is he done? And he was like, man, he's got like the biggest like FU mentality on the mound. If he's healthy, he's gonna pitch forever.
Yeah.
And you know, I think for a few years there, he just wasn't healthy. And then finally now in Atlanta, like he's healthy, and dude, he looks like he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, and you know, it's a jungle in the big leagues, man. You got to have that in you. You got to have that FU in you to some extent. There's got to be some edge. There's got to be some like belief in yourself. And when you get a guy that's that talented with the angle that he throws it at, the velocity he throws it with that type of mentality, it's lightning in a bottle, man. The dude he's one of the best of the generation for sure.
100%. And he's another one. Like he had one college scholarship out of high school. He had one, and they were a first-year Division I baseball school.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast.
You talk about,
bro, how do
you talk about thinking you had more time in your career. You knew you were kind of towards the back end. You signed the deal with the Padres. I think it was a 2-year deal, maybe,
deal.
right? So clearly, a lot left in the tank. Enough for San Diego to invest 2 years into you. You know, short into your first season, you get the herniated disc in your neck.
Yep.
And that was kind of
spinal. Yeah, it has spinal fusion surgery. And that was kind of it, man. Like I went into the off season, I started my off season workouts, and my left arm just wasn't working like it normally was. Like I had nerve issues, so I couldn't pick up the bat with my wrist. Like my right arm was fine. It was super strong. I could just pick the bat up like this, and my left arm, I was struggling to get the bat up into the air, super weak. And then pull ups, you know, like I'll do chin ups, and like I could pull with my right arm and this arm would just kind of like stay there. So I knew like I couldn't give everything I had. Did it hurt? No. Did it hurt to swing and throw? No. Like I could have went out there and done it. AJ Preller was super gracious in the whole process. Like he flew out here a couple times, sat down and talked with me, asked me where I was at, how I was doing, where I was mentally. And the second time he came out, I'm like, AJ, it's not going to work, man. And he's like, listen, you can come back. You can be the 25th guy on the roster. You know, I fell into that role a little bit the year previously where I was kind of helping the young guys, wasn't playing as much, more of a bench role. And he's like, you can essentially just slide back into that role, be a pinch hitter, play sparingly, or you can just come work for me and we can figure out that last year in your deal. And I was like, writing's on the wall. You know, I couldn't physically, I just felt like I was cheating myself and my teammates, you know, when you don't feel like you can do something 100%.
But bittersweet, because is it true your last game you came off the bench to pitch and then you hit a home run?
Yeah, Green, man. Andy Green asked me in spring training, do you ever want to pitch? In spring training that year in 18. He's like, do you ever want to pitch? Like, you know, some guys get late in their career and they want to have a crack at it and pitch an inning. And I'm like, no, I don't ever want to pitch. I'm like, no, you're crazy. Like I'm good. I don't need to pitch. And so we're playing Tampa in San Diego, and we're getting beat pretty bad. And he comes up to me and he goes, I'm probably going to need you to pitch. He goes, you want to pitch? And I said, no, I don't want to pitch. And he goes, we're going to need you to pitch. And I go, son of a gun. He's like, the team needs you to, and once you throw that on me, it's like,
he got you.
The team needs you to pitch. Coach. I'm like, all right. So I go get warmed up in the cages down underneath. Like I don't go to a pen or anything. Just go throw a little bit. Go out there, get my 3 outs, somehow escape with no runs given up. Like I hit Willie Adames in the hand. Eric Sogard got a broken bat hit. I broke his bat, which he signed it and sent it over to me afterwards. Awesome. Yeah, I still have it. And then somehow escaped, got a ground ball double play. And then the pitcher spot came up the next inning. So now I'm hitting and there's a P next to my name on the lineup card and ended up going deep. And that was my last at bat. That was it.
Last at bat, and you end your career at 199.
That's right.
Wait, 1,999.
Yep.
One hit shy of 2,000. No regrets trying to get. No regrets.
No, I mean that's all I had. I guess. I mean that's as many as I could get.
Yeah. Is that do you feel like it's a little bit easier pill to swallow when just because obviously mentally you still want to play multiple years, when the body just kind of doesn't allow you to do it, you just have no choice but to be at peace.
Definitely makes it easier because I love competing. I love playing baseball. I love being out there. And it probably would have got ugly. I probably would have struggled pretty bad. The numbers wouldn't have been great. Probably would not be playing my best baseball. So that, it's fine. That's the way it went down. I'm completely content with it. People ask me all the time about the 1999 hits. Like, why wouldn't you just get one more? I'm like, what does it matter?
I can't just roll out.
It doesn't matter.
I think the cool thing at the end of your career, unless you're going into
3,000 matters.
Yeah, 3,000. Unless you're going into the hall,
right?
Like, which less than, I don't even know. Let's just call it 0.5% of baseball players that ever play go in the Hall of Fame. And obviously, you're a Rangers Hall of Famer, which means a ton to you and means a ton to the organization. I have a ton of respect for that. But I think the cool thing when you get done with your career is like, I don't view you any different. That you don't have 2,000, that you're one shy of it. You probably don't view yourself. Your teammates don't really even give a shit how many.
No, I kind of like it, honestly.
They just know that you were a guy that gave it everything they had every single day. You grinded, you competed, you were a great teammate. Like, those are the things that I think are cool when you get done playing. No one cares about like all the accolades. They remember you for a player, and like, it was cool for us to do our research on you and be like, damn, like I didn't realize, I knew you were really good. I didn't know all the numbers, but like my perception of you was
I knew
this dynamic leadoff hitter.
I knew. I'm like, God dang, man.
Dynamic leadoff hitter, this grinder. We talked on the way here about a play. Where was the play when the ground ball hit his finger?
Kansas City. This one, another play I remember. It was like, kind of like epitomized you when you split your nail.
Yeah.
And you literally, your hand is bleeding, infield in, guy at third, nobody out or one out. Alex Gordon hits a freaking rocket right at you. Field it, throw it to Miggy at first, run doesn't score. And so you're like walking back to play normal depth and you're like shaking your hand out and all this stuff. And they zoom in on your hand is just like bleeding like profusely. And we're like, oh snap. And it looked like you had like split a nail and you were like looking at it and like the umpire says something to you and you're like, nah. Like, I don't know if he asked you like, hey, you need to call a trainer, and you just literally take your hand and you start wiping it in the dirt and you're like taking dirt, like literally rubbing dirt on it.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like,
that's a ball player.
That's a ball player.
That's
like
who
that
I wanted
guy
to
right
be.
there.
Well, I tried the grass first, but it wasn't stopping the bleeding. So it split me open pretty good. But that's, you got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. But it was just like,
clean it up later.
Yeah. And, like I had a ton of respect for you playing against you. I do remember feeling like, I'm like, dude, this guy hates us. Like, and now I know why. Like, you're just like making something up that, like I said, for sure. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, this guy probably hates my guts or whatever. But played against you a lot. On some really some unbelievable teams. Played against you in Texas. Played against you a lot in Detroit. You were part of. I felt like whatever team you were a part of was going to be a battle. No matter even the teams you guys had in like 16 and 17 where you missed out on the playoffs or whatever. But it was like guys just didn't give away at bats, right? I put guys like you and like Brett Gardner in the same breath, right? Where it's like every team in baseball, you put that guy on the roster, that team instantly gets better. I don't care what their OPS is or what their WOBA is or what, I don't care what it is. You put that guy on the team, they elevate everybody around him. And I feel like as a baseball player, man,
Brett Gardner's a gamer.
He is, man. And he was another guy.
I like watching that guy play.
And I got to ask you this real quick too on our way out, because you've been very generous with your time. But you talked about how cool it was to represent the United States in the WBC, and then in 21 you got a chance to represent Israel in the Olympics. What was that experience like, and how cool was that for you to?
Man, that was a whirlwind. That was a lot. I grew up. I didn't grow up in any religion. Like, my mom's Catholic, my dad's Jewish. So I never went to church. I never went to temple. We celebrated the major holidays. We celebrated Christmas. We celebrated Easter. We celebrated Hanukkah, Passover. That was it.
You got 2 Christmases?
That's right.
I mean, I grew up the same way.
It was awesome.
Same way.
And that's all I really knew of any sort of religion, or I didn't know anything about Israel or the history really. Like I just know what you know, or, what anybody knows. There's no in-depth, information that I had. And then when I retired, I got a call from a man named Peter Kurtz, who's the president of Israel baseball. And he said, "Hey, I heard you're retiring." I said, "Yeah, I'm retiring." He goes, "Well, now you're an amateur and we just qualified for the Olympics in Tokyo. Do you want to play baseball in the Olympics?" And like, I had no idea what that entailed. I didn't know what I had to do. I was just like, yeah, I want to play baseball in the Olympics. So I told this guy, yes. Next thing you know, he's like, "You got to come to Israel and get your citizenship." I'm like, "Oh man. All right." So me and my wife, we fly to Tel Aviv and go through the whole process, and I get my citizenship to Israel. And in that time, you start learning about the history, and I start reflecting on like my dad's side of the family and the history of where they came from and how they got to the United States. You start looking into your family, and it's definitely eye-opening, and it was a tremendous experience. Obviously being able to go to Tokyo was during COVID, so it got shut down and the Olympics got pushed back from 2020 to 21 because of COVID. And then we went to Tokyo in 21, and everybody's still wearing masks, nobody in the stands, cardboard cutouts or whatever. And that put a little bit of a damper on the whole experience, because playing baseball in Tokyo, like, these people love it. And so I was really looking forward to playing in that environment with the drums and, the chants and how organized they are and how much they love the game. I wanted to be a part of that environment. So we really didn't get to feel that. But playing in the Olympics for Israel was definitely a eye-opening, different type of feeling, right? Because I'm representing my dad's side of the family. So the amount of people that I talked to on his side of the family who were super proud of that moment, and then meeting people and learning about your heritage and learning about why and all, why you're a part of it. It was a tremendous experience. So something I'm still involved with and still talk to these people and very That's close cool. with all the people that I met.
That's cool. It's awesome for the game too, like growing it globally. All right, last thing, we got to ask you like 3 hot questions right here. Who was the nastiest pitcher you ever faced?
Kluber.
Corey Kluber?
You're not this guy had my freaking number, dude.
He was good.
I don't know what he cheated.
He didn't cheat.
I yelled at him.
Verlander, he was so convinced that like every foul ball, he was always like, he's grabbing every ball. Like he was convinced.
Dude, he threw me some stuff, I swear, disappeared. There was a baseball, then there wasn't a baseball. and Gomes would catch it and he'd throw it back. And one time he struck me. I must have swung on one of his little slider cutter things and missed it by a couple feet. And I swung like I was gonna hit it out the left. And I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling at Gomes and I said, "Tell him to stop cheating." And he looked at me and he's like this, like, "What are you talking about?" And I turned around and I look at Kluber and I said, "Stop effing cheating." And I was so mad.
And he probably just looked at you like this.
Yeah, he's probably just like
the clue bot.
Yeah, he just caught it and got it, rubbed the ball up. He doesn't care. But I mean, he had my number. He was me.
Dude. In your first year over there in 2014, like he was
so dirty,
so good. But then Victor and Miggy raked him.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I don't get that at all.
He was throwing half baseballs to me.
Yeah,
they raked everyone.
Everyone.
Dude, they did. But they were all over. There is. All right. Who's the best player you ever got to play with? You played with some greats.
Yeah.
You played with some
toss
greats.
up. I mean, you got Josh Hamilton.
Yeah.
And Shohei Ohtani.
Oof.
So like, I don't know. I mean, I played with Mookie Betts, played with Mike Trout, played with Miggy, Torrey Hunter, Adrian Beltre, like
Michael Young,
Tatis, Michael Young,
Manny.
Like, you're a GM now.
Is it crazy though?
I got to draft one.
Is it crazy though that
Shohei? I think because he pitches.
Okay. Is it crazy though that we're living in this time right now where Shohei is like obviously the face of baseball. We're talking about him being the greatest player of all time, but you mentioned a guy in Josh Hamilton being as talented.
Oh yeah, he could have pitched.
Yeah.
He could have pitched.
Through fuzz.
I mean, he could have been 96 off the bump.
Yeah.
Left side.
Left side.
Crossfire.
Yeah.
Like,
he was nasty. All right, last question. Who Shohei doesn't count. You're not allowed to say Shohei because we know where he is. Who's the best player in the game right now?
Who's the best player in the game right now? Man, that's a hard one.
Or if you can't say, who do you enjoy watching the most?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I was watching the game the other night with my son, and I really like Corbin Carroll. I really like watching Corbin Carroll play. He's got that like fight for every inch, every
small
strike,
guy,
like
fast,
runs so hard every time he puts the ball in play. He's just a tough kid, right? Took one off the dome the other night and just got up and ran home.
Like
I love that. I don't know why his helmet fell off. We got an epidemic in MLB.
We do.
With helmets flying off.
The crazy
Keep
thing,
your helmet on.
Like
get a right size helmet.
The crazy thing is they can fit your helmet to like millimeters.
Yeah,
they just keep adding or
my helmet never fell off.
Not one time.
Yeah.
Not one time.
Not one time.
I didn't never swung out of my shoes. My helmet popped off.
I slid head first all the time too, and it never popped off.
Never came off.
I think the only time it came off is maybe I got hit in the helmet and
or
it
like
popped off.
Yeah, or like you dig your head into the ground or something.
Still, I don't think it fell off because it just fit my head perfectly.
I don't get it. Epidemic in MLB. But anyway, favorite man, I gotta think about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a
all right. I got one final one for you.
Bobby
you can
Witt Jr.
Dude,
Okay,
he's really good, man.
You can answer this or you don't have to answer this. I forgot what year it was, but you got a pretty large fine for getting kicked out of a game. Angel Hernandez, I believe. Care to share what you said to him or no? You're retired. He retired.
I can't go through the whole thing.
Yeah, no, you don't have to go through the whole thing. Well, did you get your money's worth?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. I told him that.
Would it have happened with ABS?
No, it would have been like this. I probably still would have mouthed off. He got thrown out. After I challenged and got the call right, I would have been like, I told you.
Yeah.
See ya.
You were real close.
Yeah. Nice one.
Was that wasn't the only one of your career though? I'm guessing.
I had plenty. I was like a 3-4 times a year, maybe more. There was stretches. Yeah, there were stretches I got put in timeout.
Well, we can't thank you enough. Obviously, allowing us to come into your space here, Warstic. Beautiful place. If you guys aren't familiar, they make pretty much everything under the sun for baseball. Anything with a stick, pickleball, snowboard, snow skis, everything. Incredible lifestyle brand. But I think your story is just gonna reach so many people, the where you kind of started your career, the things that you overcame, from high school to college, having to take the junior college route, this constant belief in yourself, kind of this, maybe at sometimes this love-hate relationship with your own dad, but he knew what was best for you in the long run, to be a Rangers Hall of Famer, to be one of the best leadoff hitters in the game. But more importantly, you were a guy that I idolized coming up, wanted to emulate my game after, watching guys like you play was always a constant reminder just to play the game the right way, play hard, love what you do, and can't thank you enough for your time.
I appreciate it, guys. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
I like what you guys are doing.